What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm a Diggins, which we all know what that is and what that implies about my character and personality, so nobody ever needs to explain it.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Yay, hooray!
This week, talking about another movie that is something that was requested to us as part of a donation in a fundraiser. We did not choose this. It doesn't have anything to do with anything going on in the future. It's in case you're wondering why
Nando,
this.
please, that sequel's coming any day now.
I looked online. It might be unclear, but it totally could be because there's stories about it. Because I looked it up and I was like, where do I watch this? And then it said where to watch Jumper 2, and I was like, there's no Jumper 2. And it was like, they keep trying to make it. I don't think they will, but they did think about it.
Well, I watched the movie, so I can certainly tell you that they thought about a sequel.
Oh, yeah. And if I had to bet, I bet they will not make one, because why on earth would they?
I don't know, except for, we'll talk about it, but I do think there's one part of this movie that I could see being a thing. I could see being valuable enough to make a sequel out of.
The Jumper cinematic universe? Yeah,
I think it could happen, but also it probably won't. But guys...
Also, we recently made some nostalgia stuff on people coming around on Hayden Christensen in another famously bad property, so probably only a few years till we get one for Jumper.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because he is in the Star Warses. I mean, we'll talk about Star Warses, but yeah. But before that, you guys, 2 newses, one for me, one from Diggins. Real quick, I want to do mine. Just to get this out of the way. I don't know if you guys saw this today. I know we bring this up every time they make one of these movies, so I figured it was necessary to talk about it now. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Malaysia apparently is committing to banning more LGBT films. And the 2 movies that they're using as their citations for this are Thor and Lightyear, the 2 LGBTist films ever. Yeah, I know, right?
It's true.
It's fucking incredible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And DJ, you haven't seen it, so you don't quite know, but it's neither of them are very LGBT anything.
Oh, I've seen Lightyear. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess you have seen Lightyear.
I watched it on the Plus. Yeah.
So, DJ, I'm assuming now that you're a father of a young boy, as soon as you saw 2 ladies kissing for about half of a second, your eyes melted out of your head?
Yeah, not only that, my son was in the room sleeping, and I was so disgusted, I immediately, just dunked him into hydrogen peroxide and just, put some crosses and a Bible on him. And I was like, stay pure. And just to make sure it didn't infect him at all at this young, tender age.
And instead he opened his eyes and said to you the first words he'd ever spoken, "It's too late, Father. I am one of the gays now."
Oh, my God.
DJ, you're going to have to move him to Malaysia. Otherwise, there's no way for you to be completely sure.
I'll have to send him to that camp they send all the kids to, and they them with Kevin Bacon to make them better. That's whatever that movie's about.
Maybe we'll do that next time. I didn't even think about that.
Ooh,
that
boy, oh boy!
Awful.
Not before we do Day Shift. I demand we do Day Shift.
No way. So yeah, DJ, that's another challenge of fatherhood, according to the Malaysian government.
I know. Jesus Christ, it's so bad. Ugh.
I know. It's just. Apparently, they said it slipped by their censors, and that was it. And that's fair. It could slip by a censor.
Yeah. If you blink at the wrong time, you would miss the LGBTQ content in those movies.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's pretty wild that there's still people that, like we make fun of Marvel for all their first openly gay movies and Disney and whatever. And rightly so, because it's usually just so they can please these guys. But also, it's like, in my head, I'm like, these guys don't really give a shit, do they? And they do give a shit.
Well, I thought you meant to give a shit like they give a shit from a just wanting to look, I don't know, tough or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they actually care, in their core?
Maybe.
I don't know. You'd be surprised how much some very religious people can care about these very minor things.
I guess I would be surprised.
Now, my main frame of reference for that is American Christians, so I can't speak that much to the attitudes of Malaysian Muslims, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
so-
you're Bill Maher. Then you could, like, totally and accurately speak to those.
That's
But
right.
you're not Bill Maher, so you can't.
This Malaysia, apparently, this is like kind of a crackdown with them. They haven't done this as much in the past. The only other film that is listed on here is like one they have on this Variety article is one they've banned is Rocket Man, which fair.
Okay.
If that's what you're trying to ban, that's much more of that than Lightyear. But
I was going to say, I don't approve of banning gay movies, but if that's your prerogative, then yeah, I could see why you'd ban Rocket Man.
And like, you know, maybe Lightyear is the gateway drug to Rocket Man. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, that's actually this news story broke recently of a mom in Texas who's trying to get books banned because she's on her local school board. It tells a story about her son, how she alienated her son by refusing to let him watch Marvel movies and other things with extremely minor LGBTQ content. Did you hear about one thing she did after he went to see one?
What?
She baked him 2 things of brownies, one of which she had mixed some dog shit into.
What?
Why?
Wait, a mother
So-
did this to her son?
Yes. I mean, she said which one had dog shit in it, but it was still an extremely bizarre thing to do.
That's wild.
The idea is, amongst such communities, there is a well-worn phrase where it's like, it's only a tiny little bit of LGBTQ content, who cares? And they're like, well, if you mixed a tiny bit of dog shit into some brownies, would you still want to eat them?
Oh.
What the fuck?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I understand it. I'm saying I know about it.
Was it their dog, or did they have to find someone who had a dog that they could
Give me your
use?
dog's poo.
Yeah, like I
know,
feel like it's a lot more important of a question.
I didn't look into the story that much, so I guess I don't know offhand.
It's tough.
Well,
That's
do
important.
some research and get back to us, all right? Does that,
All right.
does that
Next
sound
week,
fair? Yeah.
I'll come back with you the deep dive into where this dog shit came from.
Yeah.
All right. That's why you're here. You're our research guy.
I was gonna say, speaking of dog shit, but we're not quite there yet because Diggins has another news. Diggins, what was your news?
Well, I feel like we're just obligated to talk about this because I did tweet about it.
Oh, I didn't see
so-
that. Oh, it's great.
You guys saw that, you may have seen that over this past week, the police finally tracked through all the jump scars and found the hiding place of Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
And they were arrested for stealing really expensive wine from some rich person's house in Vermont.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
Like, what were they thinking? Is that the
Yeah,
question?
Kind of. Like,
I don't know. I feel at this point they're just enjoying crime, right?
yeah,
Which,
At
I
some
mean-
point, you just enjoy the crime.
More power to them. I wouldn't say I'm anti-crime, but
that's true. Stealing rich people's wine is pretty good. I don't recommend it, but, you know, as far as victimless crimes go,
Although they are, in fact, a rich person. So, like, what the fuck are you doing?
that's
Ah,
also
whatever.
weird. Yeah.
the more absurd aspect of this story is that WB, who has been so cancel happy lately that they've scrapped multiple basically finished movies, is still so committed to the Flash movie that while Ezra Miller was wanted by the police, they did reshoots with them in the summer for the Flash.
I love it so much. It's
Yeah.
my favorite story.
That is wild because for a bazillion reasons, but also I've also heard they're doing more reshoots now, not necessarily with Ezra, but maybe with like a certain other batting gentleman whose appearance in the movie is kind of a surprise, maybe. But like, if that's the case, then it's like, how many times have we shot this movie? Like, are there 3 movies worth of movie in here based on all these reshoots and original shooting and stuff like that? Because I feel like every week there's another Flash reshoot happening.
Is that the plan? Is release 3 movies?
Maybe, yeah, 3 movies, and then each one of them takes the place of like Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Special and stuff in those release windows. Yeah, and now Ezra put out an apology that they're very sorry.
Did they, though?
I don't know.
Like,
mean,
we didn't see...
They did do that. Whether they're actually sorry is another question.
Well, I mean, we didn't see anyone at, like, a microphone, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was all press release.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
Anyone could have written that.
So Ezra Miller's publicist released an apology.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, that's weird. It's weird. The whole thing's weird.
This whole shit's weird. I just, like, it feels to me like why are you sticking with this person? I don't know, similar to a certain former president that a lot of people are just, deciding to get behind at, probably the worst possible time. Why is WB just like, yeah, we just can't let Ezra Miller go. We love them so much. Like, why?
Well, one cannot deny the white-hot star power of Ezra Miller.
I guess fucking not. I guess you just gotta go in all the way. It's so weird to me.
Have we considered the possibility that they have some members of the Warner Brothers production team's families held hostage in there, in like some sort of Vermont hideaway or something? And it's like, we're making the movie.
It's crime layered on top of crime.
Exactly. That's how you get out. You just do more crimes. It worked out perfectly so far.
There's no amount of consequences of crimes that you can't get out of with more crimes.
That's right.
That's what the Better Call Saul finale taught me.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know what's gonna happen with that movie. I mean, it's gonna come out probably. They seem to believe, but will it be good?
If they didn't cancel it when they were throwing completed movies in the trash for no reason, I can't imagine anything will make them cancel it.
Well, I do wonder if we'll hear about more cancellations later, but the Batgirl one came out and they were like, oh my god, everyone hates this. We got to do the rest of these quietly about a month apart so no one finds out. Because, they're still doing the whatchamacallit one. There's, they say the Black Canary movie's still happening and, the Blue Beetle movie, but especially with, Black Canary, I don't buy it. I think we'll hear about that cancellation in, a month, maybe. Mark my word.
Yeah. So, Words marked. Put that in the prediction bin.
Speaking of things to put in the bin, you guys, we got to talk about this week's movie. Certain movie that was requested. Do we know who requested this? Oh, I forget.
I don't off the top of my head.
We were requested someone as the reward for donating money, I believe, got to pick a movie that we would watch, and this person picked Jumper.
Yeah,
2008's Jumper. Yeah.
Why the groans, Nando?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it stinks. That's why I groaned. But Diggins,
not even waiting. Oh my gosh,
Diggins, you're in charge of the IMDb this week. By the way, in the subreddit, in the Nando V Movies subreddit, where these get posted there as well.
Yeah.
Did you see? You probably didn't see this, DJ.
No.
Let's see if I can find it. It's a small thread. Here we go. By All the Bad Words. Is their name? It says, I found it hilarious that DJ thought the IMDb B as in spelling bee tiebreaker wasn't fair because Diggins knew the answer. Yet DJ continues to use the unfair Price is Right move when he bets $1 above his opponents.
That's true.
And I said, agree. And then this person said, someone else, replied to this, so not the same person, said, I honestly think DJ should have won it outright, though. Yeah, I got the time period wrong, but it shouldn't have counted against him. It was just a clumsy mistake. His summary was much closer than Diggins. So this is the first time I feel like I've actually seen anyone ever, say something like that in one of these.
That's fantastic. I mean, oh, man.
It's fine that they think that. They're wrong, of course. I definitely won. But I think the first person, All the Bad Words, is totally correct. That DJ cheats constantly, and yet the second that something he goes not in his favor, he calls foul.
You just think all the cheating would pay off at some point. At some point, all this cheating would result in something. But no, it's nothing. Well, I get nothing for all my cheating efforts.
Your Flash movie hasn't been canceled yet, so
that's a good point. Yeah,
maybe it's just about treading water.
Yeah.
Who is in charge this week? I would imagine it's Diggins, right? I guess since Diggins won last week. Yeah. This one's gonna be interesting.
I've never felt more confident.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding. I've never felt less confident. Maybe. Although I don't know. This feels like one of those movies. Well, we'll see. I get to decide whether to go first or second.
Yeah, Diggins, can you explain this to people?
Right. So, you guys know the website imdb.com, the Internet Movie Database. Now, not a lot of people know this, but at the imdb.com headquarters, they have a series of holes that have been spontaneously generated in the pillars in the basement. They don't know where they came from. but every once in a while, somebody is inexplicably drawn, usually an intern, inexplicably drawn into the hole and kind of just becomes this weird putty-like consistently and is sucked inside. A few days later, they're kind of ejected out as a horrible slime creature. But once the IMDb security guards kill that slime creature, they cut it open, and in its gut is filled like hundreds of IMDb summaries of movies. And then they put them up on the website. So I have right here the summary that they pulled out of one of those slime creatures for the movie Jumper. And I would say that it's not wrong, but it's not how I would describe the movie.
Okay.
Now, DJ, as last week's everyone agrees, absolutely the best, absolutely the person who lost, no question whatsoever. You get to decide if you go first or not.
Good golly, Miss Molly. I think I want Nando to go first, because I don't trust him to nail it, and then I could capitalize off any of his misses or mistakes.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going with.
I do have a question. What is the main character's name? I know what's his name's name is
David!
Roland.
David! David!
Okay.
David!
Yeah, you're right. Now I remember.
David!
Okay.
I thought you were just being really aggressive for a second, and then I got it.
Oh, wait. What are you talking about? I was being really aggressive.
Okay. So
Did my character not come through?
No, I got it.
Did I?
I was just finishing
Am I a
up
good
writing
actor?
this down because I wanted to get these thoughts out in front of me. Okay. Here we go. David learns he is a jumper, a person with the ability to teleport anywhere on Earth. After rekindling with a lost, or is that what that word is? Yeah. Rekindling a lost love, David attracts the attention of Roland, a paladin who will hunt him to the ends of the earth. That's what I got.
Okay, I don't think it's that specific. Okay. After learning he has the ability to teleport anywhere, young David Rice explores the world and encounters a foe that will change the destiny of his life forever, being caught in an ages-old conflict.
Ooh. Neither of you did good.
As always.
But
It's like our best thing.
I think by a hair, I gotta give it to DJ.
No!
Huzzah!
Diggins, no! What happened? What did I do
the slightest
wrong?
of hairs.
So you both mentioned teleportation, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that was a given.
Yep.
Yeah.
DJ said less proper nouns, which this summary has 0 of them, so that's good.
I knew. Wait, 0? 0 proper nouns?
0. And DJ mentioned an old conflict, while you did not, Nando.
Did they use the word conflict? Well, you'll read it,
No,
but did they use the word...
You said you got the words
okay.
wrong, but Nando didn't even reference
Okay.
that idea at all, so...
Okay.
What's the real one?
The summary on IMDb, pulled out of the stomach of the slime creature, is a teenager with teleportation abilities suddenly finds himself in the middle of an ancient war between those like him and their sworn annihilators.
Oh my god. It's horrible.
Feels
I
very
told you.
off.
It's
Yeah.
not wrong per se, but it's not how I would describe the movie.
I mean, he's not a teenager. Like,
Well,
that
he's a
feels
teenager
wrong.
when he finds out that he can do it.
Yeah, but, like, it's not about him when he's a teenager, and he doesn't find out about the conflict until... Right? Yeah, the conflict part
Yeah.
doesn't come up till he's, like, 23 or however old.
Or did it come up even before that? Ooh.
Oh!
Surprise.
Fuck this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So... Nando, you have to give the summary of this godforsaken thing.
Yeah, do I do that, or does DJ do his thing first?
No, you do your thing.
Okay.
Right? I forget the order. It's your thing.
It's fine. We'll do this. All right, so the movie Jumper stars Hayden Christensen as David, and he is a kid who has, what's his name for dad? Michael Rooker for dad, like Vin Diesel did in that movie, in the Fast and Furious movie not too long ago.
Yondu!
Yeah, Yondu's
Michael
a bad
Rooker.
daddy to him.
Professional dad.
Yeah, pretty much. Professional
Is he-
bad dad. Like,
And Yondu's a bad dad, too. Right? He's like a bad dad to Star-Lord.
yeah. I mean, he's a bad dad, until the very last minute of his life. But yeah, he's,
Yeah,
Definitely not
he's
a
a
good dad.
complicated dad, but I would accept calling him a bad dad.
Yeah. And I feel like Michael Rooker's probably a dad and other stuff that we can't even remember. But anyway,
Is he himself a dad? He's probably a good dad. I don't want to call my coworker a bad dad.
He's a good dad in Love and Monsters. That's something I've seen that he's in.
Okay.
He's a bad dad in the Suicide Squad if he is a dad. But I don't know
he is a bad dad in Suicide Squad if in fact a dad.
Haven't seen it. Or haven't seen the beginning prequel comic where his character goes and has like dance recital or doesn't go. So I can't know if he is or isn't a dad. Anyway, kid almost dies. The main guy, David, almost dies and learns he can teleports, and it's this weird kind of teleporting, which I'm sure we'll explain eventually. But then he decides to use it to his advantage and be cool and sick and like go everywhere and go to Lakers games and Kilimanjaro and stuff in just the morning. He had an old girlfriend kind of, who I don't even know, which just like some girl he kind of knew.
Yeah, I think they were like
and had a
friends
crush on
in high school.
Yeah,
and clearly had crushes on each other. I don't think they ever dated, and they stopped knowing each other at the age of 15.
Yeah, and of course, as far as she knew, he died. Everyone thought he died.
She doesn't react like it, but she definitely thought he was dead.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly why this happens, but he decides to go see her again, having his sweet jumper life. He doesn't call himself a jumper, but does anybody call anybody a jumper?
Yeah,
the word jumper is used, right?
Irish man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a jumper?
Right,
You're a jumper now. Jumpers and paladins. Oh, I can't
it's not too far off, honestly.
Quite get there. All right.
You can't save the girl because you're a jumper, and everyone knows what that means. It means not saving the girl.
That is groundskeeper Willie the jumper.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think my level of accent there is astonishingly somehow on the level of Jamie Bell's, a real British person.
That's fair.
Now, so he goes to meet this girl, and she falls in love with him because he's rich, as far as she knows. And then they go on dates in fancy places. But then, he is pursued by a guy who is Samuel L. Jackson named Roland, who has a little magic lightsaber kind of thingy that he can use to electrocute the jumpers. And it's this whole big deal where, like you were saying in the summary, there is an ancient war going on between jumpers and non-jumpers and whatever. And he also meets a guy who's a jumper, but he doesn't really matter. Like, he matters, but he doesn't, like, do anything or have any personality. But he is there, and he kind of explains this. That's mostly his job. Well, and then in the end...
I can't believe you're talking smack about everyone's favorite character from this movie, Griffin.
Griffin. And then in the end, he kills he doesn't. I mean, he pretty much kills Roland. I don't think Roland's getting out of there alive. So he ends up beating the bad guys, and lives a happy life, kind of. Except there's a twist at the end. Spoilers for Jumper, everybody. That his mom, who abandoned him as a child, is a bad guy, like a paladin who's going to hunt him. And then we'll talk about that. But, like, that's most of it. A lot of the movie is him and, was it Rachel Bilson? Is that it? Just kind of palling around for a while. And a lot of it is him jumping. And he jumps around all the time. It's his favorite. And
wouldn't you?
God, would I? You know what? I think I'd use it for what he does in the beginning of the movie when he's too far from his remote and he teleports slightly closer to it on the couch.
Yeah,
I think
goes
that's
to the fridge,
what most of my jumpering would be. I don't think I'd use it for like stealing money or priceless things. I think I just use it for laziness. That's why I don't understand why the X-Men are all in such good shape. Jean Grey.
Right.
If that was Jean Grey, I wouldn't get out of my chair for anything. Yeah. I mean, I get why they are in great shape, but they do not need to be. Yeah, that's the whole thing. This movie came out in 2008. I had not seen. This is my first time seeing it, so
incredible.
I think I got everything. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Right? Did I forget anything?
I don't think it is amazing how much happens in this movie and how like little happens in this movie. Like everything else are like the small details, like when Griffin jumps a bus and definitely kills like 200 people.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh my god, it's a lot of that.
And the people he doesn't kill, he strands wherever they are. Like,
yeah,
so
like that one driver who, if he didn't get crushed to death by a tank, he's stranded in the middle of a war zone in Chechnya.
Dude,
yeah.
The fact that they jumped to Chechnya in 2008? Like, what?
He's got
Why this?
It's his thing where he has pictures. He can only remember the Chechnya picture, I guess, or something. Because he doesn't seem excited to be in Chechnya. It seems like he's bummed about it. So that's weird.
Like, oh, Chechnya. We done mucked up this one.
What, yeah, it's weird. Yeah, what did you think of this movie, DJ, as the winner?
All right.
What did you like?
Listen. So before I say what I want to say, I need a quick aside. I want to apologize for my Prey take last week because I think it was bad. Because I've been doing like a deeper Predator dive, and I'm like, I think I just didn't get what this movie was. But like saying it's like a bad movie like is just wrong. So I had a bad Predator take, and I'm sorry. I want to apologize for my Predator take.
Wait, what was your Predator take?
My Prey take. My Prey take. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a bad Prey take. Yeah.
I mean, you had a bad Predator take, and then you haven't seen it, but that's not as big of a problem.
Yeah, right. That's fair as well. Okay, this movie, Jumper. This is not a good movie by any measure. Like, there's nothing you could be to like, yeah, it's a good movie. I like it. I fucking like this movie. I don't know if it's like nostalgia because I saw it in 2008 and I loved it. Because this movie feels like a very quintessential, like I was 18 when I saw it. Like, yeah, 18-year-olds will love this movie because it's got action scenes and the nerd gets the girl and it's so like crazy and blah 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 blah. But like, for some reason I'm still like, yeah, like the movie's, I'm enjoying it. I think it has like the right amount of action. It's got the right amount of bullshit, and it's bad, but I like it. And I will not apologize. I will stand by my conviction, and I will not go back a week later and be like, actually, my Jumper take was so bad. I will stand by my Jumper take, and I like this movie, and I will acknowledge that it's bad.
I'm excited to hear you apologize for your Jumper take next week.
No, don't make me. No.
I'm not gonna make you. I'm expecting you to flop on your own.
Yeah, it's fair. You know what the thing with Prey was? I started reading more about it and like listening more about it, and like with like the Predator context, I'm like, man, maybe I was just like poo-pooing this movie because I'm like, what's so silly? It doesn't make any sense. But like, I guess I didn't get like the Predator only hunts like things it deems a threat.
There's an alien. Yeah. This is ridiculous.
How did brother get there? Did he walk there? Okay. That was part of it.
So I'm apologizing for my Prey take.
Wow.
Apologizing, yeah.
Takes a big man to admit when he didn't really get Prey. And it will take a bigger man next week to admit that he didn't.
No, it takes a bigger man to admit he likes Jumper, an objectively bad movie.
Maybe, actually. We'll see. By the time next week's podcast comes out, we'll see if
Miss
Thunder has accepted your apology.
I hope so. Nando, what did you think of Jumper?
Oh, I hated it. This movie's terrible. It's so boring. Everything about it is bad.
I agree.
I don't know how they managed to make teleporting so boring. For like 10, 20 minutes in, I was like, all right, I think we're good with the teleporting. I don't need to see any more. And that's probably a bad thing for a movie. Yeah, I don't think anybody was really very good in it. I think all the teleporting is kind of cool sometimes, but then mostly it's fine. Yeah, it's about a guy who it's like there was a bit. All right, here's what it is. There's a bit in the beginning where he kind of seems like he's going to be like he's living this incredible life, and he's like going to courtside at all the games and stuff, and like I said, like taking a nap at Kilimanjaro. And I'm kind of like, all right, let's see what that is. Like, what's that life, and how does he maintain it, and whatever. And, oh, this girl from his past comes in there or something, and that kind of screws it all up and whatever. But it's not that. It's mostly he does that in the beginning, and then he mostly loses that, and then just kind of goes on a trip. So even the premise of the movie is almost like a wish fulfillment kind of thing. That doesn't really work. And, yeah, all the actors aren't very good. Like, they're not terrible all around, but I don't even think Sam Jackson's putting in anything all that special in this.
Yeah.
The only thing I think that's good about it, or not good, but like the reason I wouldn't be shocked if it got a sequel is it's directed by Doug Liman, is that his name? Who did like Edge of Tomorrow and a couple of other movies that people like now.
What?
So, yeah, Swingers, The Bourne Identity was a producer on, shock, surprise, surprise. But yeah, so he did that Chaos Walking movie nobody liked, something called American Made, Edge of Tomorrow, Fair Game, Jumper, so stuff like that. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back. It shouldn't, but I wouldn't be surprised. One other thing that I came to mind. Oh, yeah, this movie is written by David S. Goyer of Batman v Superman fame. So
Boom, baby.
yeah, I can see it now. And he's written good things, too. That's the problem with David S. Goyer. He's all over the place.
The good things he co-wrote, typically.
That's true. Yeah. And, yeah, this ain't that. This is, I mean, he did co-write this with, oh my God, I didn't even see this other name. So first of all, this is a novel, which, okay. He wrote it with somebody wrote the screenplay for Fight Club, although I'm not sure if that means that guy just kind of took the book, or turned it into a movie, whatever. Also, Simon Kinberg, Dark Phoenix's own. Did this one. So just couldn't ask for a weirder team.
This is a real Space Jam.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Mean team. What do they call them?
the Monstars.
The Monstars. But
Well,
in
they're the
new
Monstars.
movie,
But at one point, Sylvester's like,
yeah,
"They're
we're
not
not
the
the
dream
dream
team.
team.
They're the
They're
mean team." Oh.
I feel like it's something else, but I can't fucking remember.
Is this in
I
the
think
new one
maybe
you're
it is
saying,
Mean
right?
Team. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I was talking about the original one.
Oh man, then I
No,
should
they're
remember.
not They're not monsters. They're monstars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, wait, it's one
Yeah.
of the monsters who says, "We're not the dream team. We're the mean
The
team."
mean team.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Sylvester
it.
does
yeah.
say
That's it.
Monstars.
Yeah.
You're right.
But anyway, yeah, this movie's not good. And yeah, so Simon Kinberg, David S. Goyer had a baby, and it's this. And that is like the problem with it, is I think it's just so boring. And it's,
Yeah.
it's really weird. Yeah, that's all I got. Diggins, what'd you think of this?
So this is a movie that whatever it wants to be about, I think we can agree by like screen time and everything. Its main plot point, or its like main plot focus, is him and Millie, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It is approximately 50 minutes, more than half of the movie, before she's aware that there's anything weird about him at all.
Yep.
And it is an hour and 15, hour 20 or so, 10 minutes before the movie ends, including credits, before she learns that what his deal is, that he has powers.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it does take
Accurate.
a really long time for that to happen.
Yeah. So all that to say that this movie is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, and signifying nothing. It's a very bad movie, and I didn't like watching it. It's I mean, it's like Nando said, it doesn't work as like wish fulfillment, because that's just like the first 5 minutes of the movie and never really happens again, except for a brief 2-minute period after the prologue. And it doesn't work as an action movie because the action's all bad. It's all Jason Bourne shaky
Right.
cam, but not good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also something to be said, I think, about like how you make a teleporter teleport. And I do think part of the charm of the only other time that's really worked on screen in the Nightcrawler situation is he leaves like a puff of smoke, so it does make kind of the path of Nightcrawler a little easier to track, and it makes his movement seem less random. And this just fucking, you could like, I feel like there were definitely a couple fights where I just kind of tuned out, and I knew stuff was going into places and people were flying and whatever, but I don't know, it just kind of loses you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get that.
It also, I feel like it hurts it that it feels like they have to start moving to teleport, so it's never just like disappear, reappear. It's always like he jumped really fast or something.
Yeah, that's true.
It looks weird. Yeah.
Also, the weird shockwave that accompanies with it somehow makes it worse. Because at some point, it's just like mini earthquakes happening everywhere. And it's like, well, I don't know what's going on.
So, I actually, I read the supplementary material, so I know what the explanation for that is, which is that when they teleport, they're teleporting things around them as well. So that's basically a burst of compressed air.
That makes sense.
From their teleporting, kind of like shooting out from them. Which is also how Griffin does some of his super punches. He's like building up compressed air. And then letting it loose all at once. None of this is explained in the movie, by the way. Like I said, I read some material to figure this out. Also, did you know that if you shoot where a jumper teleported from, the bullet goes flying in a random direction?
What?
That's why Paladins don't use guns, apparently.
What?
Wait.
That's the reason? I assume his guns would be bad against a jumper, because they can jump.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even wonder why they didn't use guns, but that
I didn't
is an
either.
They would be
explanation.
ineffective.
I didn't
Like, a gun
wonder
would not be
either.
effective against a jumper.
But they had an explanation anyway.
God, you had to, like, read the DVD, watch the DVD commentary to be like, by the way, do you know the reason? Blah, 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 blah. It's, like, awful.
It's not a terrible explanation, or like it's an interesting kind of thing, maybe almost, but
Also, how do you not explore that in the movie? You have, like, a flashback where, like, Roland kills one of his buddies. It's like, oh my god. Or maybe that's in the handbook. They
Well-
first tried back in, like, the Revolutionary War, and it's like, oh, this
in-
won't work?
In fairness, this movie is based on a book. In unfairness, that book has nothing about there being an ancient society of jumpers, or the Paladins aren't in it at all.
Wow. That's... Love this movie.
yeah, I would say I think the Paladins are the worst part, but then they're not, but they could be. Like, if you took them out and then did something else, it would probably also be better, but you could say that about most of the things in the movie. Like the romance and the dad stuff. It's all pretty much pointless. God, yeah, it's a weird one. I have a wheel. So many
Yeah,
wheel.
you do.
Yeah, I think it's 10 things.
I gotta say, it's one of our best wheels, I think, and I think is this movie, like, a bad movie, but good for us kind of
It's a
scenario.
pretty good
I think
wheel.
we're working with. Yeah, I like this wheel.
I look forward
I'm
to
gonna
hearing
spin
you
it.
defending all of this, DJ.
Tick, tick,
I-
tick, 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 tick,
We're
tick.
great.
Oh, it landed on one of Diggins's. It's a good place to start. This is No One Knows How Ice Works.
Okay. This sticks in my craw. This is my personal bugbear.
Not your craw.
Yeah, I know, right? I've tried so hard to take good care of my craw, but every time there's a movie with ice in it, they just stick some stuff in there again, and it doesn't work anymore.
Bummer.
So at the beginning
So
of this
what's
movie, the thing that makes him realize he has jumping powers is he falls through some ice because he was trying to get back a snow globe that he bought for Millie, his girlfriend, that a bully had thrown out onto some frozen lake or whatever. Here's the thing. Do you guys know how you fall through ice?
So if I understand correctly, there's like a tiny bit cracks under you, and then the whole thing just falls, and then you're inside the ice because you fell in bad.
Yeah, it
A
makes
tiny
a,
bit cracked around
it
you.
makes a human-sized hole, kind of like when Batman crashes through a window and makes the bat symbol.
Yes, correct. No, obviously there would be a larger crack, but even that's not my biggest gripe here. My biggest gripe is the reason the ice cracks like that, if it's not so thin that it would crack under any weight, which this obviously isn't because he walks across it for so much of it, is that you're concentrating your weight on specific parts of the ice that can't handle all of that weight, and so it breaks. You know, it's a really easy way to not do that.
Move around a lot.
Just lay down. Just
lay down?
lay
Yeah.
down. Your weight is distributed so much further across so much surface area. Every time there's someone carefully walking across ice to get something and you know they're going to fall through and die, it's like, just lay down. It's strong enough to hold you a little bit, so if you lay down, it'll be fine. It makes me so
it's
mad.
like, so in school, they teach you stop, drop, and roll if you're on fire. And I was like, this is interesting, because, like, where am I going to be in a scenario where, like, I'm on fire? I've been on ice more frequently than I've been on fire. Should, like, the thing in schools be, like, on ice, go prone? Or, like, something like that? Like, you need a stop, drop, and roll, but for, like, ice awareness.
Well, that's interesting,
Yeah.
DJ, because I've been on fire more times than I've been on ice.
How interesting.
I'm about even.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will say, I think that is helpful information. But imagine how dumb he would have looked if she's like, "Here, I'm gonna throw the thing, and he's like, I'll get it," and then he just got on his tummy and scooted over to it, the little seal.
Yeah, well,
like,
how
what
much
is wrong
dumber
with you?
would he have looked dying of hypothermia in ice cold water to get a cheap snow globe?
I also think it's great that when that moment happens, the bully is like the what was the girl's name? Madison or something?
Millie.
Millie. Millie's like going to help him, and the bully's like, no, don't. It's dangerous. And I kind of feel like the whole thing ends there. The bully's like, don't worry, he belongs to the river now. And then just like gives up. It doesn't feel like the energy is commensurate to the situation, I guess.
And I don't know that there's a good place on the wheel for us to talk about this later. So I just gotta say, these two kids totally think he dies in this scene. He falls through the ice.
Yeah.
He never comes back up as far as they see.
Everybody does, too, because, like, even the mom is like,
the
oh
whole
my God.
town's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Everyone besides the mom, who reacts at least somewhat appropriately, is so casual about him showing up alive 8 years later. Like,
Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, Mark sees him in the bar, and the last time he saw this kid, he fell through the ice because of a mean thing that Mark did. Like, if he has any amount of self-reflection at all, he's like, I killed that kid. It's my fault that he's dead. Mm-hmm. And when he sees him again 8 years later, he's like, oh, hey, it's David. What's up, dude?
Yeah, and the thing with that too is like, not only like, it's not like he disappeared one day and like everyone's like, oh, he just ran away. Like, they ask a couple times, people ask like, what happened to you? Or I guess Rachel Bilson does once or twice maybe, but like, there's no answer for that question besides I can teleport now, because none of it makes any sense. Like, it's just the whole thing is just insane.
Yeah. As someone who loves to lie, I often think about what lies I would tell in the situations that movie characters find themselves in. And I gotta admit, in this one, I had nothing. I was like, you gotta tell them you can teleport because there's no other explanation for this.
I mean, I guess you could say, I don't know if this would make sense. What I would say is that, like, I floated a little bit down the river, got out.
Yeah, and, like, broke out.
And then, I guess, realized that I hated my dad and just straight up left. And that was something I was always kind of planning to do.
Like, she's dumb enough where there's a lie there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I think you could lie to her about being teleporting. Like, I think you could do the opposite and just disappear, and she'd be like, where'd you go? And I'd be like, I teleported. And she'd be like, oh, okay, that sounds about right. But yeah, the whole thing with the ice is weird. That happens in a lot of movies now. At least one a year, there's an ice thing.
It's one of those things like quicksand, where, you know, as a kid, you think it's going to be a much bigger problem in your life than it is. Unless you live in, like, Alaska or something, I guess.
Well, yeah, and, like, we see it in so many movies that at a certain point, the movies kind of have to, like, remember this. Or, like, I don't know. He is just kind of dumb, though. I think that's also part of David's whole deal. He's not super bright, so it kind of makes sense, honestly. Mm-hmm.
How many lives do you think would be saved annually if a movie accurately depicted how you avoid falling through ice?
I don't know. Let's see how many people die from falling ice. Anybody want to take a guess?
Die annually for falling in ice? I'm going to say like 200. Wait, in America?
Yeah.
I'll go with a cool 1,000.
I'm assuming this is going to be America stats, but
I don't think it's that many. I'm going to go with like 100.
Okay, so this can't be true.
What?
Hold on.
10,000 people every day.
I have three different statistics here that I'm working with, and
it's like more than heart disease or whatever.
Kind of parse them. So
the leading cause of death in this country is you walk across ice to retrieve some precious object that a bully threw across a lake, and then you fall into the ice and die. It's a scourge. Yeah. It's an epidemic.
So in Minnesota alone, because they have this information easy to find, it's usually around 7 or 8 people a year die for falling through ice. So like 100 seems reasonable. But then looking at this thing, which is some sort of outdoors website, now I'm betting that this information is either a lie or for the entire world. But this website, which is outdoorsnw.com, says Northwest mountainous regions of flatland provide us with a cool place to enjoy water in the summer heat, many opportunities for ice skating and open air hockey during the winter months. Each year, nearly 8,000 people die from drowning after falling through ice. So that seems like a lot, though. Like, I don't buy it.
Why not though? Like, it could be a real problem.
Because Minnesota said it's 5. So where are they doing it? Florida? Like, we don't have that many states, and I mean, maybe it is all happening in like Russia, but I don't know. It just seems like a really tough stat to track down. But yeah, it's not 0. Sometimes it's many people. Sometimes it's like 3 or 4 people at a time, because they're probably like they're in a car or something, or like something stupid like that. Yeah. So
I don't know.
Everybody,
I know right now. The thing right before what you found, the Google thing you found, is a article from the Kansas City Star that claims over the past 26 years, 4,000 people drowned by falling through ice.
In Kansas City or America?
From 10 Northern Hemisphere countries, including Canada, Estonia, Finland, Germany, Italy, Latvia, Russia, Sweden, and the United States.
So wait, what is the average per year then?
Like 4,000 divided by 26.
So a couple hundred.
Yeah.
So yeah,
not even.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We may never know how many people die falling through ice. It's apparently a mystery.
If you have information about this, it's 153 people. If you have information about this, let us know. This is our new segment, mostly ice picking. Which definitely don't use an ice pick. That's a really good way to immediately break ice. And fall through it.
Ladies and gentlemen. We're on our way to kill Trotsky as we speak.
Now, I will say, definitely do that thing Diggins said. Also, just don't do the snow globe thing. That's pretty much it. Bullies suck.
Yeah.
I want to spin the
we
wheel
frame
again.
them for crimes later.
That's true. I'm going to spin the wheel again. Landed on one of mine. This one is Samuel L. Jackson wearing a carpet on his head. Samuel L. Jackson has the worst wig I've ever seen in anything ever.
It's true.
Absolutely insane. Doesn't stick to his head very well. There's a lot of times where you can kind of see it separate from his neck. It's just insane. And it has the texture of carpet. I don't know what
really
ancient order of whatever he is supposed to be from, but that guy that character is wearing a wig and nobody wants to tell him about it because it's so weird.
Yeah, do you think
he's rolling? He's the biggest badass ever.
Apparently.
Did they cut out a scene where he's with some of his flunkies, or like a new guy goes like, sir, there's something on your, and then somebody else goes like, shh, don't,
yeah,
he's really sensitive.
He'll zap you. Oh my god.
I mean, they should tell him. Someone should tell him.
Is that why he's convinced that jumpers are irredeemably evil? Did one of them tell him that his wig looks bad once?
you all turn bad eventually.
Yeah.
I know, goddammit, I know.
Like somebody teleports in and he turns around and looks at them.
Oh god.
And they're like, whoa, dude, you really gotta get fitted get some better hairpiece, because my god, man, And then we flash back to the president and there's a single tear rolling down his cheek.
Yeah, it's awful. It's really terrible. I think he's fine in this, but not very good either. I think this is one of his less interesting performances generally. Which is interesting because this is the same year that Iron Man comes out in, right? So, this is when the whole Nick Fury thing starts, and this is after the Star Wars thing has ended. So it's almost a turning point in his career, or like a lull where he didn't really have to try. Although I think Snakes on a Plane was a year before this, and that's good. Like a good Samuel L. Jackson performance. So I don't know why this is so debatable. Bad. I had fun with it. This is just terrible. I don't like his outfit, his little kind of suit that he wears. I don't like any of it.
He's also not particularly a badass either. It's just not this unstoppable blah. He's just a guy.
It's insane that people are he's able to catch anybody.
Yeah,
he is apparently fireproof, so he's got that going for him.
That's true, and 2-story fall proof. So they should have leaned into that more.
Maybe the wig is a helmet.
Is he unbreakable in this one? Is instead of Mr. Glass, he's unbreakable?
That's possible.
Maybe that's what this. Maybe jumpers are the Clover Society. And this is a prequel.
This is in the East Rail, whatever universe, too.
Yeah.
And that's the twist, that M. Night Shyamalan also wrote this, which would make perfect sense.
We also talked about it a little bit before, but interesting that Sam Jackson and Hayden Christensen are here together. That it's a weird Star Wars reunion.
And he has a lightsaber, kind of.
Yeah. That's just curious as heck.
And his whole thing is electrocuting people. His character got electrocuted to death. Kind of.
They've really switched roles.
It's very good for him, I guess. I spun the wheel again. DJ landed on one of yours. Andrew Garfield?
Yeah. So I gotta say, I want to talk about Hayden Christensen first. I don't think he's very good in this. But I don't want to be like that guy's Hayden Christensen sucks. But he's not very good in this. But like this role and what he's trying to bring, it's like very bland, but it's supposed to be like a fun guy, but who could be like actiony and serious. I think that if Andrew Garfield was in this role, this movie would have been way more successful. Like, I think Andrew Garfield would have crushed this as a lead, and it actually might have been like a fun, enjoyable movie. What do you guys think about my theory there? That maybe if this was Andrew Garfield instead of Hayden Christensen, it's not a piece of shit.
I mean, it's definitely still a piece of shit, but I do
really,
think...
you don't think he could do his fun, like quippy jokes thing? And is like, I'm like jumping around. He could do a bunch of jumping puns, but then when he gets to fight, he could do his like greasy guys, like, oh, I'm been in a tussle. Blah, blah, blah. You don't think it would have been like better if it was Andrew Garfield?
I mean, it would definitely have been better, but I don't think it would have been good.
What about you, Diggins? What do you think about my theory?
I mean, if the question is, do I think that Andrew Garfield is a more charming actor than Hayden Christensen? Yeah, he is. Andrew Garfield's very charming. I don't often like many of the movies he's in, but I can't deny that the man does a self-effacing kind of goofy sort of charm pretty well. What do I think Jumper wouldn't be a piece of shit? I mean, everything else about it begs to differ.
Yeah. I do have some people that were going to be in it, so...
Oh, please share.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of Millies that didn't happen. Evan Rachel Wood apparently was on the hook to be Millie at one point. Or she turned it down, but she was one they were looking for. Somebody named Teresa Palmer, not sure who she is. She's in stuff. She's from Warm Bodies.
Oh, she's the lady in Warm Bodies?
Yeah, she's like the girl in that.
Yeah,
so like
that's the zombie romance movie, right?
That's right. And she was in Hacksaw Ridge with Andrew Garfield. So movie. I mean, this was after that, but still.
Directed by who? Sorry, who's that one directed by?
Daniel Radcliffe. This is another one of his. He's getting so much work. Yeah. But then we have two interesting ones. So for Hayden Christensen's guy, one is, and where was this? I lost it. But here we go. Originally, Tom Sturridge was cast as David. You may recognize that as Sandman's Own Dream. That's right. And I don't know if he would have been better, but probably.
I mean, this was 14 years ago, so I don't even know what he would have looked like back then.
Yeah, I mean, he was in that Vanity Fair movie in 2004. Nothing too significant until, God, I don't even know what I would consider like his first hit. He hasn't really had too many. I mean, like, he's done a lot of stuff, and a lot of it seems to be like British stuff, so maybe just didn't make it over here. But the big one, someone turned down the lead role, or turned down an offer to star in the lead role. However, apparently, according to Doug Liman, his plan to have this person in the movie was dropped right after he met Hayden Christensen. So this person was like, maybe going to be it. And this guy met Hayden Christensen and said, no. It's got to be this guy instead.
Oh, okay.
That person is Eminem.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So that's kind of weird, right?
Why? No, my God. That would have been amazing.
Right?
Is it because he's like from Detroit and it takes place in, well, I guess not Detroit, but Michigan?
I mean, that's probably part of it. And I think that's true of the book as well. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, it's from Ann Arbor in the thing. So yeah.
How soon after 8 Mile was this?
Oh, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, 8 Mile was like
03, 02, 03.
Sounds
think,
02. Yeah, so 6 years after.
Yeah,
cannot explain it then. Inexplicable.
Yeah, I mean Eminem doesn't do that much like acting, so that would be wild if it was this and Jumper. Like 8 Mile and this.
Do you think in the original draft David did a lot of rapping?
Maybe.
Oh, God.
It's like once they cast Hayden Christensen, they had to do extensive rewrites to remove all of the rapping.
I do think it would be kind of fun to watch Eminem try to do this movie, because it would probably be about as good, but way more interesting. Like, just to see.
Like, it would be like Cool as Ice, that movie Vanilla Ice did.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, they would have had all of the licensed music, too. Like, every song could have been like an Eminem song.
Oh, then
it would have been so great.
That's true.
Then we would never have found this movie. It would have been locked away in the licensing hell vaults forever.
Yeah. Plus, then maybe he would have had the bad experience of this movie and never made the soundtrack for Venom. So what would we lose, you know?
I can't imagine a world without Eminem's Venom song. So this was the best timeline.
Exactly. So yeah, that was those are your alternatives. I think Andrew Garfield would be better for sure, but I mean, I don't know if there's anybody who I'd like love for this, because who was like a cool guy in 2008?
Cool guy in 2008.
Barack Obama.
Oh yes, that's a good one. He could be Jumper. No, who was like, and then Joe Biden in his bad wig could chase him around, or maybe John McCain, I guess. Hey there, stop. Who would be the it was like a hot, like Bradley Cooper maybe at the time. Feels like this, maybe he was happening then.
I mean, this was, like you said, this was the year of Iron Man, which means it was Robert Downey Jr.'s comeback tour.
I guess so, yeah. It feels a little early for that, but he would have been good in it. I mean, it would have been weird, but like...
You need a young gun. You need a young buck. That's why I like your Andrew Garfields or your, even your Hayden Christensen's. Like, it makes sense.
How old is he, by the way?
In this?
In life. I'm looking
right
it up.
now?
41.
Okay. So he was...
27.
Like 27.
All right, so I have a list of 41-year-old actors.
All right, here
These
we go.
are guys that could have done it, technically, and been the same age as him.
Yep.
I've got 18 of them, and most of them are better. I mean, like...
We'll do a yay or nay.
A couple I don't recognize, but yeah, I'm going to start at the bottom of the... This is the famous birthdays list, so it's not a super comprehensive list, but I will do my best. Okay. Number 18, Zachary Levi. Better than this.
Pass.
Yeah, I think it would be
that's
better.
A pass.
He's funny. I think it would be fun to watch. Josh Gad. Different movie, maybe more interesting.
There we go. You can stop reading now, Nando. We found the perfect movie.
I'll skip this next one because I don't know who he is. Joseph Gordon-Levitt could have been here.
Oh, that's brilliant, actually. Yeah,
feels
that
like the right
fantastic.
time for him, too.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood could have been here.
I could see it.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
I feel like
Ben
he was
Savage.
so deep in the Lord of the Rings typecasting for that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was going to say Ben Savage, who I can't remember if we don't like him now or what, but he could have done it, theoretically. And then we're getting to the ones that I actually think might have worked. Chris Pine. It's that age.
Ooh, great one. Great one.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Stephen Amell. Arrow Stephen Amell. He would have been fine.
He would have been good.
Let's see. Who else?
I think you
we got
mean
here?
wrestling's Stephen Amell?
That's true. Jesse Williams. I don't know what this guy's from. It's Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he's so high on this list. Rami Malek is this age. I don't think I'd love him here.
No.
Macaulay Culkin is this age.
Yep, do it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Skipping Hayden Christensen, who is number 7 on this list. We've got Jake Gyllenhaal. Seems like kind of thing he'd be doing around this
phenomenal.
time. Yeah.
Do you think if he had the experience of working on Jumper, he would have been nicer to Taylor Swift when they dated?
Perhaps, yeah. I don't know who Joseph Morgan is. Seems like he's from a show called The Originals. So like one of those vampire shows.
That's one of the spin-offs of the Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, so him maybe. Ryan Gosling is this age.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
I don't know.
good, right?
I feel like he's too intense for this movie.
That's true.
He can be funny. He's like a funny guy.
He can be very funny, yeah, but I don't know.
So then this one is before he was like a big Hollywood star, but Tom Hiddleston is this age. I think he could do it.
Interesting.
And then I got 2 more. Number 2 on this list for some reason, Nick Cannon. I'm not psyched about it, but I think he could probably actually do a better job, or like it would have been something.
It's a different movie.
I remember Drumline. I'm not going to pretend he was never an actor. And then number 1, Chris Evans. Like he probably almost too likable for this movie, although he used to be less likable. Like he's got that, he's done those movies too.
He used to be more typecast as kind of the brash, like kind of jerk dude. He was Human Torch. He was the famous skater guy in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. Jake Weiler from Not Another Teen Movie, who was like a jerk and had a banana up his butt. I think out of all these guys, what's up?
I think the version with Josh Gad as David and Nick Cannon as Griffin would have been the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, that would have been pretty
my
sweet.
God. Yeah, phenomenal.
And I mean, like, yeah, there's so many different... Like, I think Chris Pine is the safest bet here, but I also would have really liked to see, like a weird one, because it's just so... And I don't think he's a bad actor, necessarily. But this movie is definitely not utilizing him properly. Whatever that actually is. I spun the wheel again, you guys. This landed on... I think Diggins and DJ both said this, but we got to get this one out of the way pretty quick. Everybody is terrible at their jobs.
Ah, yes. I'll let Diggins go first.
This could be the name of the movie. It's just a constant series of staggeringly incompetent decisions and actions. So first of all, David, Hayden Christensen's character, does seem to want to keep the fact that he teleports secret from people, right? Like, he doesn't tell anybody. He seems to value some secrecy about it, even above and beyond his criminal usage of it.
Yeah.
He makes no effort to hide it at any point in the entire movie.
Yep.
There is in the like after the prologue, the other scene that's like showing off him being a cool guy doing cool things. Oh, he goes to a bar in London and sleeps with some woman, and then he goes surfing in Fiji. Whoa.
No.
In that scene, at one point, he's at one end of a crowded bar and teleports like 10 feet forward to the bar with people looking at him. Like, he doesn't care at all if anybody sees him. Which just makes it more insane that it takes the Paladins 8 years to find him.
Yeah, that is wild.
I also feel like the way he describes his whole thing, where he's like, in the beginning, is a little like, I do this, and then this, and then this. Like, courtside at a Lakers game, you're on TV, buddy. Like, and I don't think that means everybody will recognize you immediately, but, like, that's gonna use powers a lot. Like, people see you, and then if you're using them all the time, people will see that guy from TV eventually. It'll just happen. But he just doesn't seem to care. But I do understand the idea of getting lazy. I do think that makes sense. It's like, maybe originally he did, like, wear a mask and teleport into, like, broom closets and stuff, and then he got older and it's just like, fucking nobody seems to care. I'll teleport into the middle of the fucking Empire State Building and just see what happens.
Because he lives in the incompetence world, nobody ever gives a shit that he's
pretty
very
much
obviously teleporting. We live in a world where a bank puts its public bathroom next to the vaults. So
love it.
Like, nobody's establishing any competence here. And so the Paladins, the first bank he robs, they get on his case. Like, Samuel L. Jackson shows up pretending to be part of the NSA. And it's like, asks for their videos and stuff to comb through the records and look for the jumper. And again, it takes them 8 years to track down a man who teleports 10 feet across a crowded room. Like, they could not possibly have been trying very hard.
Yeah, especially because, like, I get that this guy has, like, stacks and stacks and stacks of cash. But I have to assume he also has, like, a credit card or something, right? Like, and we don't see too much of his, like, organization generally. But it really does seem like just a room full of cash and then all the normal stuff. But, like, you figure by now he'd have, like, fake IDs and things like that to kind of keep things going. But I don't think he does.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, if there was any competency in this universe, he would have been arrested a long time ago for, at minimum, tax evasion. Because, he's probably not sending in his taxes for all the money he stole. His whole lifestyle is wildly suspicious, and he would be under the scrutiny of several different federal agencies for the crimes they're certain he's committing.
Pretty much.
Also, isn't all the money he stole traceable?
Yeah.
Like, so, womp womp.
Womp womp. What else? Who else is bad at their jobs?
So, I want to expand upon the Paladins being bad at their jobs.
Sure.
So, okay. We're told that this has been like a war going on for ages and ages and ages. And it's against, I guess, people who hate teleporters and people who can teleport. Now, like,
the natural enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's a real predator-prey situation.
Hey, DJ, why do they hate teleporters?
Because only God should have the ability to be all places at all times.
Is that the reason?
Classic line. That's what Sam Jackson says. That's what he says.
Do you think, is that the official reason, or is Samuel L. Jackson just like a weird religious nut, and the other guys are like, God, you gotta stop telling people that. It's just that we're racist. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So, we're led to believe that the Paladins were doing this in the freaking Middle Ages. They were doing this. How did that go down? And, like, how did, like, they get a jumper? Because now they have technology. So I get how, like, the jumper fights happen because, like, there's they have electric wires and they have machines that can help them go through the scars. But like even 300 years ago, if the jumper jumped, then that was it, right? The Paladins had no recourse. They had no internet. They had no ability to research. They couldn't like hunt. Like this war must have been very lopsided for a very long time, right?
I guess, but also if you're a jumper, how far can you jump? You don't have pictures. You don't have like. Do you have like drawings of what outside of different things look like, so you know where to go?
Interesting.
Or can you just jump to like the other side of a room? Because I don't know.
So you think it was a level playing field?
No, I don't think it was. But I am curious about how they managed to do it then. I'm sure they have figured out a way.
But do you need... I don't think you need to, like, physically looking at a picture, though. You can teleport any place you have been, right?
Oh, sure. The pictures seem to help, though.
The
I don't
pictures
know
seem to
why,
help,
but...
And also, yeah, like, back then, there wasn't a lot of, mobility for the average person. There wasn't really...
Right, but you could still...
doing a lot of traveling,
And you could still just teleport around town and stuff. Like, that would be easy enough, but...
Teleport into the Lord's castle and feast upon his many chickens and pheasants.
Exactly, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they caught him.
And like, was jumping even cool to do back then? And like, how did this war start? Like, how did a bunch of people get together? Like, you would need a village to like have a jumper, and then that like village like gets people, and they get people, and they get people. Like, this isn't like Assassin's Creed where it's like just ancient old alien technology bringing people together and making them fight. It's just like apparently some people could jump, and then I guess we're gonna make it organized like cult against those who can jump.
Well, actually,
right?
It turns out that since the Middle Ages, just a bunch of people have been getting together who hate the idea of people being able to teleport. They're just like, oh man, if there were any teleporters here, I would stab them so fast, you guys. Like, oh, they make me so theoretically mad. And then like 20 years ago, they actually found one, and they're like, holy shit, guys, this is the moment we've been training for.
I think that makes sense. Because, yeah, I mean, although... Is this one of those situations where, like, they have all kinds of crazy fucking future technology that's been around in that world forever, but they've had access to? Because they can also teleport themselves. Like, they have all kinds... So maybe they can?
Well,
I don't know. Maybe they had their little electric sticks for longer than you'd expect?
So, this is another point of staggering incompetence on their part. Apparently, they have a box of stuff that can open up a teleport that a jumper used. So, basically, they can... They leave some teleport residue that can be opened up to use that same portal. And
it's the jump scar.
The jump scar. And at no point in the movie until the very end do they ever think to use it. There are multiple times where in an isolated location, a jumper teleports away from them. And they're just like, darn, I guess we'll never find him. Like, why don't you use your box? Why don't you use your teleport box?
Well, it's also funny, right? Because the box is like... It feels like in Rick and Morty when the government gets a teleportation machine, but it's like ridiculous. Whereas like, okay, they jumped through once. Awesome. But then the jumpers would be like, okay, bye. There's no way you could do this a second time. It's like comically impossible that you could do this again.
Well, yeah. And then they don't know where they're going, right? So like, I do think the box is the worst weapon for them. And maybe we'll get into this later, but like super easy to kill. Just teleport over a volcano, leave, and then let them jump into the volcano themselves. Because they can only do it once.
You're definitely teasing out a topic that's going to happen, but I have some thoughts on how these jump. I think every jumper in this movie is bad and uncreative. I mean, we only see two. But yeah. I think jumpers could be like would be way better than this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is also worth pointing out that we're told like that there's a lot of jumpers and whatever, but we see three technically because there's that one guy Samuel L. Jackson stabs, but we only ever see two operating in the world ever.
That's true, and yeah, they're just the shittiest ones. Because like we said, Sam Jackson is very good, and he can barely catch them. So if there's one that's kind of clever and like a couple that are working together, like it seems like they have. Because also, the jumpers don't have any guns or anything like that. Like, they could totally have those and then shoot them. Like, nothing is stopping them from doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. Spun the wheel again, you guys. It landed on one of yours, Diggins. Jamie Bell, a real British person, sounds fake. Let's talk about Jamie Bell. What's his character's name?
Bell.
You guys remember
Griffin.
this before.
Griffin.
Now, yeah, what's Griffin's deal?
So Griffin is the only other jumper we see for an extended period of time in the movie. he started jumping when he was 5, when Samuel L. Jackson tracked down his family and killed everyone except for him. So, that sucked.
Which real misfire. Real misfire.
Yeah, come
you
on,
only have
guys.
one job.
There's only one person here you needed to kill, and yet... Yeah, so ever since then, he's dedicated his life to, like, hunting down paladins and killing them. A job he is also, like everyone else, staggeringly bad at.
Oh, yeah.
He just, like, waits for them in a place he knows they'll be with a bat, instead of, like you said, teleporting them into volcanoes or whatever.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he waits for them and then goes like, all right, hey, I'm the guy who's in charge, and I'm gonna just let you fucking walk around for a while I talk to you about that I'm gonna get you. Like, he doesn't have traps planted, really. Just goes for it. It's awful.
It's absolutely terrible. But yeah, so... I also made a joke earlier about him being the beloved character from this movie. It's actually not a joke. People loved Griffin in this movie so much that he got his own spin-off video game and book.
Holy
No,
shit.
he didn't. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
I can see the
God.
video game thing just because it's like, we want to make a video game.
And at that time, we did it to everything.
Yeah.
Like, every movie had a video game. It was just mandatory.
It's a famously terrible video game that was basically
Yeah, I
unfinished.
cannot imagine the fucking...
How clunky was the jumping?
Yeah,
Like,
they
from
can't
what
even
I
do that
hear-
in good games.
It's almost fun.
Oh, nice.
almost fun.
It's almost fun.
Yeah, it's
That's
called
like a donkey
Jumper
video. He's gotta,
Griffin
like, read
Story. Oh my god.
Griffin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's also the name of the book, Griffin's Story. Even though
Oh.
Griffin, also not a character in the books.
That-
Really? So all this goodwill was just from the movie?
Yep.
Well, Jamie Bell can actually jump, so they had to write him into the movie because he can do
Yeah,
this.
that was
Yeah.
that was the thing. Jamie
He's
Bell
also made of
hated
rocks.
working on this movie. It was one of the worst experiences of his life.
Really?
Why?
Wow.
What didn't he like about it? The whole thing?
Well, it was, so
Just
they
reading
actually
the script
filmed
and
on
then everything
location
after that?
for most of it.
I saw that.
Was
Like,
it really?
in
No,
the
it wasn't. That's
Coliseum.
impossible.
Yeah.
In the Coliseum, everywhere,
What?
everywhere, every time they show up in a country, they really
In
filmed
Chechnya?
in that country. Except maybe
I don't know about-
Chechnya.
maybe not that one. Yeah, but all the rest.
In the kids' pool when they inexplicably jump into like a kid's pool.
Yeah,
Whatever
probably.
country that was in, they filmed it in that country.
The
So it was very
also-
grueling, and he hated doing
So
it.
random. That's crazy. I can't believe they did that.
and then he did the Fantastic Four movie 7 years later. Way to go, Jamie.
Can't catch a
What a
break.
year! Yeah, I mean he was in the famously sexually deviant Rocket Man movie, and he was pretty good in that. So there you go. That was payback for all these fucking bombs.
Well, so yeah, so Jamie Bell, I don't know what it is about him. I don't know if it's just this movie. I can't remember how he talks in other movies I've seen him in. But something about Griffin's accent, it sounds like a joke. It sounds like an American doing the worst approximation of a British accent they could muster. Not someone who is bad at it, someone who is deliberately doing a bad job.
And he is in fact British.
He's actually British. Like, he is from England. So you'd think he could do this, but somehow he's really bad at it, and I don't know why.
Maybe his character isn't from England, but he's pretending.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's it. Gotta be it. Maybe the more you jump, the dumber you sound. Like it's just like it ruins
Like
your vocal cords.
cords.
Yeah. Like his vocal cords are in like Lisbon or something, and they did just a bad jump and lost him. So now he's got to sound like this. I don't know.
So, like, that's why the teenage David grows up into Hayden Christensen.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Okay.
Also, I'm watching this gameplay now. It does look pretty boring. Like it looks kind of fun when he's like doing sword. It's a lot of sword play. And there's
That's
lots
weird.
of like, yeah, it's like very well. I mean, it makes sense because the rules are that they can't use guns, but like you can jump in attack moves by like doing like kind of combos, but also you can do a thing where it seems like you probably hold a button and then look at a part of the screen and then teleport there, and it takes way too long to be fun. Like if that was a little bit more fluid, I could see this working, but yeah, the rest of it does not work.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, just want to point that out while I had it.
Yeah,
here
no, it's
because
good, it's good.
I'm
Yeah.
fascinated this game exists, and it also does look pretty crappy. I spun the wheel again, you guys, and landed
Yeah.
on one of mine. This one is the Spanish Inquisition, the Salem witch trials. Were the Moors, the Jews, and the women who could read jumpers, or was that all a front to catch jumpers?
Oh, boy.
I don't know which makes less sense, but like it seems like, especially with the Salem witch trials, like that's I could see the Inquisition being something that's kind of going on, and the what are the Paladins, like, weasel their way into that and, like, also use it to get jumpers.
Yeah.
The Salem Witch Trial is a pretty small thing. Like, it wasn't that many people. I want to say it was, like, maybe 20 people that were executed for witchcraft or something like that. I might be way off, but,
It's not a high number.
yeah, so... I'll look this up real quick. 25 people were killed. So, like, what did they... Was there one woman that jumped and they were like, that woman's a witch? And then they went to get her?
I saw Goody Proctor jumping behind the cow field.
Right? Like, it has to be. What happened? Like, what is the... I mean, and then that's this... And I fucking can't stand this. And the Inquisition's stupid, but I understand it with the Inquisition because it is just, like, very blatantly, like, they wanted to kill all the non-believers and, like, torture people that were different, whatever. The Salem Witch Trials is, like, they thought there were witches, and they didn't. But, like, every so often, pop culture's like, but there actually probably were witches there. They might not be the bad guys, but they were there. And it's, like, hocus pocus, and it's WandaVision, and it's this now. But with this, it's even weirder, because, yeah, like, they're not really... I mean, I guess a witch... maybe could teleport, but, like, that's not what they're known for. I feel like if you're going to start the witch trials, that's got to be that's a stretch. Also, probably pretty hard to kill a witch if she could teleport. How did they burn her or crush her with a rock?
Yeah, they didn't have electric grapple guns back then.
Yeah.
How did they do it?
They never got her. She kept teleporting away. It's like, fuck, that's right. I always forget about this part. Damn it. We got to do something else when we get her next time, because, yeah, this doesn't work.
To prove you're a witch, we're going to drown you. If you teleport away, we never see you again, that proves you're a witch.
Pretty much. Like, and, yeah, so dumb.
So in that line, he says, it's only those two examples, right? He doesn't follow the rule of three, which, like, you know.
Those are the two I wrote down. I don't know if there was another
I think
one,
that's right.
But if there was, I'm going to guess it would have been... What would it have been? It's like another thing.
This is where I was going with it. Do you think in the writer's room, they're like, oh, what if we say, like, the Holocaust? It's like,
yeah,
I
think they said,
the Holocaust. The Armenian Genocide. Apartheid South Africa.
All just looking for jumpers. So many jumpers out there. Now it sounds like a slur. For all those jumpers. I do think that, like, yeah, there has to be a starting point for this, right? And I do think it would probably be ancient Egypt if they just wanted to pick a time and a place where things were kind of mystical and bullshit.
Did he say the Crusades?
Oh, yeah, maybe that was there. That could have been there.
Yeah, it turns out nobody gave a shit about Jerusalem. They just wanted to kill these teleporting sons of bitches.
Fucking jumpers, man. They got all that shit. Like,
I heard the Saracens are harboring jumpers. We must go after them.
Like, what did they... I just... And also, I don't think we get this explanation in the movie, and I think that's fine, but it's never explained what's actually going on and, like, why he can do it and why certain people can't. But, like, yeah, it does make it seem like that this has always just been a thing that people have always been able to do. So, like, there were, like, 50 cavemen, and one of them could jump or something. And, like, there was another caveman that was like, I think I gotta get him. And that was the first jumper, and then the other one was the first paladin.
The first paladin.
Yeah. And he, like, got a stick and started throwing it at the jumper or whatever. But, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's stupid and insulting, and yeah, the witch trials one specifically always irks me.
This raises another question. Are the Paladins an official arm of the Catholic Church?
Well, now we must wonder, because they've been involved in, like, 2 of the 3 things or whatever.
I mean,
yeah, and I mean, the Salem Witch Trials is, like, close.
I was going to say,
true.
Even if they are, the Salem Witch Trials, they were a bunch of Protestants, because it was an English colony.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I'm sure you could get away with it.
Man. Makes you think.
I could see them. I mean, they feel very much like, instead of Paladins, they'd be Templars or something, right? That's what that would be in, like, an Assassin's Creed or something like that.
Yeah.
You guys think
but
Leonardo da Vinci could teleport? I think
Samuel L. Jackson's character is named after Roland, a general of Charlemagne's, who is famous for beating back the forces of what's it called? Andalus in the Pyrenees, the border between Spain and France. So that has a lot of, like, Catholic religious undertones.
they say things about religion a lot in this movie. Not like things about it, but they use words connected to religion and events. But no character in the movie is religious or it never does that at all. So that's cool.
Yeah, Roland's never like, according to the Papal Bull of 1546, all jumpers must die.
Yeah, there was an 11th commandment that he dropped all the way and was no jumpers. I spun the wheel again, landed on another one of mine. This one's just like a super clunky line that I hated. And it was, hey, you read Marvel team-ups? That's not a brand.
Right?
Like, it's technically a line of comics, but nobody would call it that. Especially not in 2006, because I don't think it was running in 2006. I think they
2008
cut, like,
is when this movie came out.
Oh, well then never mind.
Yeah, it took place in 2006.
Oh, that's true. When was all that jumping happening in real life? And then we'll kind of tie it to when. But yeah, Marvel team ups is just like, yeah, well, like he says, like it's when they decide to put Iron Man and Spider-Man in a comic together. But like, it's not that important. It's not that significant of a thing, of an idea. And apparently there were them in 2000. They existed in 2006, but they were done. And then they took a big break. So in 2008, that is not a thing.
It's a weird pre-MCU line.
So weird. It sounds like something that belongs in Glass. Like,
yeah.
Because it's just so clunky and so heavy. And like, do you read Marvel Comics team-ups? Like, is that the only way you, Hayden Christensen's guy, can describe working with another person?
Yeah, right?
Never before has ever two people worked together.
You have to understand, every time you see Hayden Christensen in this movie say or do anything, you have to remember that we're talking about a man who dropped out of high school after freshman year.
That's a good point.
True.
And we're talking about a man whose words are being written by David S. Goyer and Simon Kinberg, so that doesn't help either.
Yeah.
Is Hayden Christensen a victim of the writers around him and directors around him?
So I think
maybe it's not his fault.
I think his weakness as an actor is that he is unable to elevate material.
Yeah.
So like he has some natural charm about him that can come through with the right director and the right writer, but it's something that needs to be coaxed out of him. And so when he has to read clunky lines, or he has a director who's kind of checked out, like, he's kind of just left to flounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, like George Lucas classically... Well, I guess, was George Lucas directing him when he made him?
Yep.
Did you direct all three?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so not traditionally an actor's director. And then Doug Liman, like, I'm thinking of things I like him from, and it's like Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise. Like, that probably doesn't take that much direction. So, yeah, maybe this just wasn't the right person for him. What is that? I also think it's crazy that they say Marvel team up, but they don't use the word Nightcrawler or Vanisher or any of the various Marvel teleporters. Blink, Pixie, none of them. Just, like,
well, remember,
weird.
Unlike how it is right now at this very moment, at the time, Jumper wasn't a Disney franchise.
That's true. That is a good point. Well, what was it? Was it a Fox franchise? Because then it would have been...
20th Century Fox, yeah.
Then the X-Men would have owned it. Like, they have the X-Men, too. So, if
Yeah,
anything, they should have been
circle.
working him into the fucking Origins Wolverine universe and stuff. Wraith, that's another one. Will.i.am's character can teleport in that movie. He's about as good as these guys. He should have showed up. All right, I spun the wheel again. Only a couple more things. It landed on one of yours. Diggins, you have to say this one on your own.
Sure.
Yeah.
David, what is going on?
Let's talk about her. What's Rachel
Oh,
Bilson's deal?
So,
great question, Nando.
Rachel Bilson, the actress, or Rachel Bilson in this
Oh,
movie?
yeah, I meant the character. The actress, was she for like OC and stuff like that, I think?
I think
That's like
she
her
and
claim
Hayden
to
Christensen
fame.
actually dated for like 10 years after this movie.
I know. Yeah, and that's pretty wild when you think about it.
Yeah, when you think about
Because-
how little chemistry they have in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that happens a lot. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, like a lot of the times those movies that aren't very good seem to spawn romances. But yeah, she was in some things, but was Summer Roberts on the original OC, and that's kind of her claim to fame.
Good for her.
Yeah.
So I would say the line that this wheel slice is, David, what is going on, is approximately half of her dialogue in this movie. Because,
Absolutely.
So she is like teen girl who he had a crush on, and she obviously had a crush on him when they were growing up. Thinks he died in a terrible ice accident for 8 years. He shows up again one day, and she's just like, "Oh, hey, dude, what's going on?"
Oh, right, yeah, you from Ice Death, the thing that I was the most horrible moment of my life.
Most horrible moment of my life, and then I thought a ghost left the snow globe for me out on my swing set that night after I was crying in my mom's arms because I was so upset that I thought you died.
Yeah, I forgot about the snow globe thing.
Hey, dude, what's up? So casual. But then he, like, whisks her off to Rome. Which, by the way, he does all this after Roland tries to kill him for the first time. I guess his first thought was, like, if I'm not going to get it in now, it's never.
It's the worst plan ever, man. It's the worst plan ever. You go back to your hometown.
Was it, DJ? Because it worked.
It worked 100%.
I guess. Well, it didn't work in terms of it put her in horrible danger. And
I was talking about in terms of what I said.
Well, he did. That's true, too. He did survive. Yeah. However, that is the way that Roland finds him, right?
Yes.
Is he like...
Yeah.
No, it was a horrible idea, but...
Yeah, the worst.
And then after he shows up in her life after 8 years of thinking he's dead, he's like, I have a lot of money for a mysterious reason. Do you want to come to Rome with me right now? And she says yes. Like, imagine if someone you knew in high school and had a crush on, sure, but you thought was dead for 8 years... and then showed up in the middle of your life at 23 and was like, do you want to take all of my mysterious unmarked bills and come to Rome with me? Like,
but Diggins, she really wanted to go. It was her dream from her locker, remember?
It was one of her favorite places.
You're right. I would throw caution to the wind. Also, he implies he's going to tell her about his teleporting because he's like, only if you want to skip the boring parts. And then they're on a plane.
Yeah. Yeah!
This movie sucks so bad.
It was so stupid.
And then
when they say that, I was just going to say that line, because I don't remember if we see them get on the plane, but I do remember Sam Jackson's like, he just landed or just got on a plane or something. I was like, wait, did he really? Like, is she getting on the plane and he's jumping? Because at least, look at all the time you're wasting. I guess maybe they...
And wouldn't they be like, are we sure he's a jumper?
Yeah.
Because, why?
Do you think on the whole flight over next to her, he was, like, fidgeting? Like, God, how do people do this? Oh.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to use a door. He was bested by a door.
He so much he didn't know how doors worked. And yet he sits for 8 hours on a plane?
Like, what happens when he's... like, gotta go to the bathroom somewhere new? Does he teleport back to his own bathroom at home? Maybe.
I mean, yeah.
That's the dream.
That's what
now
I would
want
do.
this superpower. Yeah, this is cool.
But no, he takes her to Rome, and then for the next hour of the movie, it's just increasingly weird stuff happens around him because he's a teleporting criminal. And every time she just responds with like, David, what is going on? And he goes,
David!
And he goes, it's fine. And she's like, it's not fine. And he's like, no, it is. Don't worry about it. And that's the full extent of their dialogue for like a full hour of this movie. It made me insane.
Yeah. David! It's so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
I kept being like, okay, so this is the part where he tells her about what's going on.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the movie needs to move forward. And it never is. He doesn't even ever tell her. She only finds out because he has to teleport her or she'll die.
Yeah, I was not waiting, but I was looking forward to a scene where they had sex, and then he accidentally jumped her to a different place and had to explain it to her. Because that's probably how that would happen, right?
If he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't...
That's never happened before.
It's never happened to me before, I swear.
Anyway, do you want any books from the library while we're here? Because I can get us home, but it does seem like it's a stop we're making.
Oh my God.
Oh God, yeah. She's...
Fortunately, we know he's had plenty of practice since he has sex with that British lady at the start of the movie. Am I right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Mr. Jump Your Girl over here, jumping right into the middle of fucking 3 people and then just being there. If nothing else, he's a guy that ran into you. Like, at full speed. Maybe he didn't teleport, but it's still like, get away from me. But no.
I want to know, like, what worked about this play? He, like, goes up way into her personal space, like he snuck up on her because he just appears, and it's like, I'm going to buy you a drink. What do you want? And then next thing we see, she's going home with him. Like, is it just because he's Hayden Christensen and he's cute?
I think so.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
I guess that's all it takes.
I spun the wheel again. We only have 2 more on here. Landed on this one real quick. Just want to get this over with. Can Nando kill it? This is from DJ. I think I could definitely kill a Roland. Especially if I'm a jumper. Like, if I'm on that side, I can kill him. I don't know if I could kill a jumper because they don't have any weaknesses. Like, they're super good at stuff.
Well, electricity. Electricity is
unlike,
I guess so,
unlike a regular person, if you shoot them full of volts, then they become useless.
Well, sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, I could definitely kill him then. But it is like, it's not like a teleporter, like, say, Nightcrawler, where he does say that in the movies. Like, well, if I teleport into a wall, I die. So you can't trick me or something. Like, there's nothing I could do to, like, even the odds a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess the way you would fight a jumper, see, it's tough. Because if you put them in a situation where they would want to jump, they could probably, unless you electrocuted them. So I guess you just, like, cover yourself in rubber and then just throw all the, like, you know, fill their house with water and put some forks in the outlets and just see what happens. But beyond that, like, I don't know, would, like, a Faraday cage work on a jumper? Would that trap them?
Well, Faraday cage just stops electricity and like magnetic waves rather from entering a place. It doesn't stop, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know what jumping is physics wise, so I don't know if it would stop it or not.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think there's any good way to exploit. There's no weaknesses I could exploit, so that would be tricky. And it does seem like if I got him, they could still jump away and probably be fine. Like, if I didn't kill him. So it just have to be like, can I shoot this guy faster than he could jump? And the answer to that's probably yes, I guess. But, like, it's not that easy. I don't know. But also, the bullets might bounce around and kill me. So he might kill me by accident. All that is to say, probably, because the jumpers are all pretty uncreative and dumb. But it would be hard. It would be tricky to do. Like,
especially if you get the one who could put you over a volcano, right?
Right.
Like, how do you get that?
I do think I could get him the way that Sabretooth kills Wraith in the X-Men movie, where he just knows where he's going because he's very predictable and, like, stabs him. I think I could get away with that if I, like, fought this jumper once or twice. I feel like they'd ping-pong between two locations, and then you just, you know, put stuff there.
So basically what you're saying is you think you could kill David in this movie, but a hypothetical competent jumper would stomp the floor with you.
Absolutely, yeah. There's so many ways for a jumper to kill me that it's really hard for me to come up with a way to kill the jumper. I mean, I guess the way to kill the jumper is let them get close to you and then have, like, some sort of, you know, electric thing on your thing. You know, like how Batman electrifies his cowl. Or a knife. Yeah, that helps, too.
I mean, you
that
just
really
stab
does
him
work.
in the gut. Like, what are they going to do? Teleport away? They're still stabbed in the gut.
That's true. And you probably, I'm betting your insides get real messed up if you have a big, giant cut and then you jump because of all the air pressure things. Like, that might just kill him right there. So
what if you stab him in the gut, he teleports away, like, a few feet away, and just, like, his guts explode out of his stab wound after he does that?
You know what I would do? This is what I would do. It's a pretty complicated plan, but it would work. Is I would take, like, let's say it's Hayden Christensen, and I would go first before any of this happens. I guess I'd have to hire someone, and, like, let's assume that he's after me and he's coming to kill me, like, today. I would hire someone and be like, listen, I'm going to text you. I want you to burn his house to the ground, but not until exactly when I tell you. And then he gets in the room, and then I get some, like, fight him, and then he teleports into his house, but it's on fire, and he dies there. Maybe that's how you do it. I don't know.
Okay.
But
I don't hate it.
Yeah, you'd have to set a trap for him, but yeah, you'd have to know where he's going.
Yeah.
So good to know. And yeah, I think I could kill Roland by pushing him down a flight of stairs. Like, I don't think any of the bad guys are anything special.
Well, the Paladins are just like people with electric grappling guns and a box that opens teleports. So, like, yeah, if they're fighting a regular person, they're just a person. Now, as I've stated many times previously, I would lose a fight with any average person. So I would still lose to the Paladins. But Nando thinks that he could beat an average person, so he would win.
I think I could. I don't know if it's a certainty, but I think it's it's in the cards, maybe, depending on the average person and how dumb they are. One more thing on the wheel, you guys. This one's Diggins it's pointing at the sequel sign. Let's talk about the end of this movie.
Ah, yes.
Until Battle Angel Alita, no movie had ended pointing at a sequel sign so hard.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah. So what do we got? What are sequel things in this movie?
Well, I mean, there's just that one scene, I guess. I guess. Yeah, I guess before that, Roland survives, and so does the other jumper. So pretty much everybody lives through this movie, besides the millions of people killed by the jumpers throughout it.
And
Oh my God.
probably most of the Paladins who are in that final fight. I think Roland's the only one he saves.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that means he's definitely going to die because he doesn't have self-service there. No one can find him. Like,
Yeah, he's got a little GPS tracker for like when this happens. Like, feels like he would be ready for a jumped scenario, right?
That's
You
true.
would
He
think
should be ready for
that
a
a
jump
group
scenario.
of people fighting people who can teleport you would be prepared for such a scenario, but their level of competence displayed elsewhere through the movie leads me to doubt that.
Yeah, I don't think they would. I think he'd get caught. I think he'd see, like, he'd get there and then go, oh, you know what I fucking should have brought? And then he'd just die in the cliff because he does that. They've never thought of that before.
Oh, real quick, going back to them being extremely incompetent. In the Colosseum scene where they fight in the Colosseum, really shot in the Colosseum, incredibly.
Insane.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
I mean, obviously the parts where bits of the Colosseum are destroyed are fake, but otherwise. Two Paladins show up to fight them, and later Samuel L. Jackson's like, I told you to send everybody. Why were there two? And the dispatcher guy, whatever, is like, I thought two would be fine. It's like, what the hell?
Oh, remember, she told us two would be fine.
So really?
Yeah.
But then at the end, she implies that she does want to kill him. So actually, her actions are
Yes,
very
doesn't make any
confusing.
sense.
Yeah. So let's explain that. Or like, what is the finale?
Yeah.
The little ending thing.
So inexplicably, David shows up at a random house in, I think it's San Francisco, because you can see a suspension bridge across a bay.
Do you guys remember who answers the door?
I do. I was
couldn't
about to
believe
say.
it.
Kristen
Yeah, go for it,
Stewart
Dickens.
answers the door. Pre-Twilight Kristen Stewart, so it's not like a famous cameo.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like she just happened to be in this movie.
But she does, for a full minute on screen, make the Twilight face that will go on to define that character forever. And, like, it's pretty insane to see outside of Twilight.
Yeah, no, she looks like she walked straight out of Twilight, which, to be fair,
Yeah.
she was the same teenager that she was in those movies, so of course she does.
Yeah, like Twilight came out in 2008 as well, so it's pretty... We're right on the heels of her being a humongous megastar. But yeah, so then she answers the door, and then what happens?
And then he's like, can I talk to your mom? And her mom shows up, and it's his mom, Diane Lane.
Whoa! Oh!
Which, like, when I saw that, I was like... I remember watching the first scene with her in it, and then being like, is that Diane Lane? No, what would she be doing here? This isn't... But then it is. So, speaking of David S. Goyer, Batman v Superman's own, Diane Lane is in this movie. Incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, why did you leave? Like, I couldn't believe it. You are a paladin, which I guess is hinted at by the fact that Griffin has a thing on her, but it's not very clear at the moment that happens.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, we see her in the bunker of his, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like that's supposed to imply...
Yeah, I guess.
But, like-
I don't know.
so did she make him a jumper or what? What's the story there?
So
No, I
again,
just think that she happened to be a paladin and he's a jumper.
In the supplementary materials, there is no genetic
Nice.
component to jumping. It is just people are randomly born as jumpers.
So that's really
Like
crappy
mutants.
luck.
Yeah,
Yeah, just like
Yeah,
mutants.
right.
well, there
like
is
from
a
Marvel
genetic
Team-Ups
component
comic.
to mutants.
That's true.
I guess so. Yeah.
But it is a random genetic component, or like a seemingly randomly distributed genetic component.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like a jumper will have kids who are not jumpers because it's just totally random.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. God,
so
can
yeah.
you imagine having a non-jumping kid and have to explain to them doors and stuff?
Oh my god.
And be like, Daddy, how do I open a door? And he's like, oh shit.
I don't know. Ask your
Okay.
mom.
Yeah.
Ask your normie mom.
But yeah, they have a conversation that's basically him being like, why did you leave? And she was like, it was either murk a 5-year-old or leave. So I decided to leave. But also, now that I know you're here, I am going to kill you. But because you're my son and I love you, I'll give you a head start.
Yeah, which like for a jumper is pretty good.
So
A head
yeah,
start
I'll
can
give
pretty
you a
much
head
get
start.
you anywhere.
Yeah, so you could go anywhere on the entire planet.
Yeah.
Hell, if you steal a
But also, like-
spacesuit, you could probably go off the planet. There doesn't seem to be a limit to this.
That's true.
But also, for whatever reason, I love this little cult I'm in so much. I'm willing to murder my own son to stay in it. 'Cause I
And-
won't leave the cult.
Yeah, and like she goes to do the thing, like, or she tells him that she's like, all right, you give you a head start, and he just casually walks away from the house. What if it's a 5-second head start? And then she just shoots him, like lightnings him in the middle of the front yard, and she's like, wait,
Yeah.
You didn't jump? No, I just walked around. Sorry. My girlfriend was here, or whatever she is.
Yeah,
Sure.
also, after your girlfriend is almost killed by the Paladins because they fanatically go after everyone in your life, even if they aren't jumpers, you bring your girlfriend to meet your Paladin mom and to be like, hey, babe, wait like 20 feet outside the door for me, okay?
Oh my god. It's so... Why, like... Okay, so she got in, and she's like, I'm gonna settle and have a normal life with... Or I guess not. Maybe she also hunted jumpers or whatever. Then her kid has a jumper, and is a jumper. It's like, oh no, the conflict. What do I do? But, like, she's also willing to go to the lengths to, like, rescue him from Roman police. Like, she also has that level of care for him. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, how do you join the Paladins in the first place? Are you like born into it? Is it like the Cincinnatus Club, where you have to have be the child of a member to join, or like, can you just be like, if another Paladin hears you talking in public, like, man, I hate the idea of teleporting people so much. If there was a teleporter here, why, I'd stab them right now. And they'd be like, well, hello, sir and or madam. Do I have the organization for you?
Yeah, that table at the job fair is pretty sparsely attended, and they don't get a whole lot of recruits. I do think you have to be born in it, and I imagine the way this would play out is like Kristen Stewart would be the bad guy of the next one as a paladin trying to kill him. Also, what's the word paladin mean? It's like a fantasy word, right?
D&D, very popular. There's a paladin class.
Is that the electricity
I'm sure it'll
class?
come up in the movie. Yeah, you know.
So Paladins in like fantasy are considered like holy warriors, basically. They're dedicated to a god or a religious order or something, and they're basically knights. Paladin also, historically, refers to the 12 peers of Charlemagne's court, which is why he's named Roland and why they're called Paladins, or rather, like, that's it. So the implication is kind of that they were founded by one of Charlemagne's dudes, possibly Roland himself, but that doesn't make any goddamn sense at all.
They did Kingsman before Kingsman.
It was Kingsman, yeah. I wish I would.
Wow.
That should be the prequel to this. It's just Charlemagne having an orgy or whatever they did, and then just seeing somebody teleport and be like, "Go get that guy." And then the jumpers and paladins were formed.
It would have been great if there was like a reveal that like there was a genetic component to being a paladin. Like every time any jumper jumped within like 1,000 miles of you, like you would get a horrible headache or something. Like something bad happened that made you hate them. Like that made them natural enemies. Not like how the IMDb summary says that they're natural enemies, even though they're not.
Right, and like you could kind of play it like a terrorists kind of scenario where it's like, well, look at all the people the jumper kill. You just recruit a couple of those kids, and then they join. But nobody knows what jumpers are. Although I think people know now, right? Like this world is just broken wide open. There was so much jumping happening.
That was the case when he was 15, or when he's at the bar. Like I feel like the world's already broken wide open, right? Like, are some people like, oh my god, this is going to sound crazy. I saw someone like teleport in a bar and like, oh yeah, those guys are around all the time.
Yeah.
You want to join the hate group that hates them and hunts them down? Real fun.
I think the Paladins are going to get a huge boost in membership this next quarter. Yeah. It's going to be insane. You saw those two guys that jumped off the statue of, or the Empire State Building and just kind of teleported a lot?
Yeah.
And one of them like took a bus or something and all those people are gone and we never found them? You want to get them?
That's true.
Here's your stick. Go to town.
A bus just teleported out of nowhere, and people whose like family members were on that bus got like a report like, yeah, we can't explain what happened. Like that's fucking
Who would
insane.
even give it? Like the bus company? It's just like, listen, the bus disappeared. A guy got on it and it disappeared. So you should go find him.
The apartment building, just vanishes. And it's like, oh, happens, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like the bus is probably the one that feels like the biggest thing to me, like thing that no one can miss.
Yeah.
But I bet there were others. I mean, there was a lot of car jumping and jumping in traffic. Like, you never miss that.
Griffin at one point is like, amateur, because Hayden Christensen is really obvious about all his jumping, but then he jumps a car through a window to steal it and then is jumping through traffic with it. Like, if anything, being more obvious than David is during the movie.
Yeah, like cars have stuff you can track. They got a low jack and things like that. Like they'll find you. These
But
people,
also,
and like
you're teleporting in the middle of busy traffic. Like, who's not noticing that?
like, and Griffin is so inconsistent as a character because there's parts where it's like, yo, we're in a war and I'm fighting a war. Stop being a dickhead. But then he's like, I'm just gonna be a dickhead and carjack a bunch and ride around. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, every jumper, it seems like, would be an asshole because like it's such an incredible power. And like Griffin's
Only
like,
God
no,
should
don't
have
be an
that
asshole.
power.
But like he's an asshole.
Also,
he's the worst.
So this is the Marvel team up thing where David's trying to get him to go fight Roland and the other Paladins with him so they can save Millie. And there's like a countdown on it because like Millie's flight is landing in 8 hours. We got to be there so that we can stop them from killing her. And he spends this whole time convincing him, and then they like get in the car and drive off together. And then they like at the end of the scene of them driving, they like stop, and he's like, "Her plane's landing any minute. We gotta go." Like, were you guys driving for 8 hours? What happened?
Yeah, they keep forgetting their jumpers. Man. Someone needs to remind them you can jump. And you figure this is the kind of thing in a movie like this where it takes too much energy or something like that, you know, and you can only do it once or twice in a row before you like pass out. But no, you could do it infinite times. You can't do a building, but besides that, you can pretty much jump anything as far as you want, as many times as you want.
And like at one point, Griffin does like a weird like running warm up punch to like fucking just kill Roland.
I mean, now that I know about the air pressure thing, I think that's cool. I didn't understand it then at all. Because it's not like the infinite mass punch like the Flash, where like you travel so much distance, because he still has a human fist, but that kind of makes sense now. Yeah. What do you guys want from a sequel? You want to get Kristen Stewart back? I think they should get her back.
Fuck, yeah. Film on location again. Go to Chechnya this time.
Yeah.
Really go for it.
Yeah.
Who in the writer's room thought that was a good idea? It's so fucking random.
Let's get that taxi driver back to be a paladin to get his revenge on these guys.
Yeah, they should have every paladin in the next movie besides Kristen Stewart is just somebody who got fucked over by Griffin or David in this movie.
Exactly.
Like the bus driver of that double-decker bus is there. The like truck driver or whatever who he teleports into Chechnya. Some people who thought they witnessed a man jump to his death off the Empire State Building.
Yep.
Mark, who he framed for a bank robbery for no reason.
Yeah, the Mark thing is so dumb. Like, has he done that before?
Like, framed people for his bank robberies? And not only is he framing for his bank robbery, I'm pretty sure bank vaults are typically airtight. Like, because... you don't want anything to be able to go in. So he could have suffocated and died.
For sure. It was probably a weekend, right? Because everybody was out at that bar. So, like, there's a good chance that it wasn't... That safe was going to get open for another couple days. But, yeah, it's so dumb. Yeah, I think those guys should all get their revenge. And then, like you said, they should be inducted into the M. Night Shyamalan universe where they belong. And the Knightsman, or what's his name? The Guardian? No. Overseer can kill them too. That'll be the next one of these. Do you guys want to get to our classic segment now that we've done this whole thing? And thank you, whoever it is. I don't have your name. This movie is bad. And
but you know what?
This
is a pretty fun episode.
Watch it. Yeah, I mean, listen, I learned a lot about history and stuff, so that's pretty good.
Oh, gosh.
But I would love to get to our classic segment, Nando.
Well, does anybody have anything to recommend to the fine people? DJ, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I would love to, Nando. So I wanted to recommend, there is a new documentary on Netflix. So I mentioned this when it first came out, but they have this series of documentaries called Untold, and they're different sports documentaries. So it was like the Mouse in the Palace. There was the hockey team that fights all the time. This one... does the name Manti Te'o mean anything to you guys?
Of course I remember Manti Te'o.
Yeah.
His sad girlfriend got cancer, remember her?
Yes. So this is the Manti Te'o story. It's a 2-part documentary. It's about 2 hours long. And it's actually very interesting. Because I feel like with the Mouse in the Palace, and even like the hockey team that fights... like a lot of it was out there, but I feel like with this, a lot of the journalists kind of talk about like what was going on, like on the inside, like while this was going on, like a lot of people seem to think that like Manti Te'o's dead girlfriend was a catfish, but like no one wanted to break it. Like no one wanted to like get rid of the feel goods. Like, oh my God, this girl's fake. And it took Deadspin to do it.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And it was like crazy that like everyone got their lunch eaten by Deadspin, and once it was out, like no one could go back. And it's crazy that like all of these like professional quote unquote sports outlets might have been like had this story and they just refused to break it. And it's such a weird, like I think a lot of it in sports media, groupthink happens a lot of the time, because it's like, oh well, if it's not Adam Schefter or Woj or like Shams, like for like football and basketball respectively, and if not one of the big outlets are reporting it, it just doesn't get reported. Because like it's sports, right? Like ultimately at the end of the day, the stakes are pretty low. So it's like, unless there's a crime going on, which, you know, unfortunately has been the case lately with stuff like the fucking Washington Commanders or the Cowboys, like it's usually so low stakes that it's not like a big deal if it's not broken. But in this case, like it went on for so long, it like almost destroyed Manti Te'o. Like it's also crazy like how mean fucking like people were like mean to him, like just so mean to him, because I feel like this is when catfishing, like I think this predated like the MTV TV show, and it wasn't like really big, like how could anyone get fooled, but there's like 100 episodes of Catfish that you could watch people getting fooled. And it's just like crazy like how this story, when you the behind the scenes of it and like the fallout and what happened, and they got the girl who like catfished him, and just hearing like everyone's story, it's actually fascinating. Like this is probably one of the best untolds that Netflix has done, because I think it's a good story that people only know so much about. I was like fascinated by it. So if it sounds like something you think you'd be interested in, give it a shot. Like I said, it's 2 parts on Netflix. It's I don't know why they broke it up like that and didn't just make like a 2-hour documentary. I don't know if it's like better for their numbers or whatever. But I think a lot of people come off pretty compelling in this, and yeah, there's just, it's kind of fascinating. So yeah, that is my recommendation.
Interesting. See, I guess what I remember from the Manti Te'o situation is like in the beginning there was a lot of like, is he faking this? Is this like a sympathy play from him? So I kind of understand why like we thought it was like why we were mean to him at the time, because it just seemed like such a weird scheme. And it's like, how could you not? And I still think, I mean, catfishing, I believe it that people are catfished, but I just, man, how? Like I'll never understand it. It's fascinating. And good football like season getting ready for. Any football stuff going on this week, by the way?
Oh yeah, thank you so much for reminding me, Nando. So our ESPN Survivor Pool is back. For those who aren't familiar, the way this works is that over the course of the football season, every week you pick one team to not lose. Or I think it's win. I think they have to win. Like if it ends in a tie, you're still out. So you pick one team to win, and you cannot pick that team for the remainder of the season. So week 1, you love the Buffalo Bills matchup. You're like, they're going to win. You pick them. You can't pick them for the rest of the season. So it's a lot of like figuring out the best matchup. And you're like, oh my God, one game, that sounds so easy. Or like, I could do that. But football's so random that sometimes like a really good team will lose, and it just blows up the whole thing. So what we've done for the past few years now is if you win, you get to pick a movie, much like with Jumper today, which the donation. This is just a contest we do, and then you'll win. So like there's a really long link to join. If you've been in the past, you should get enrolled, because I'm just using the past team again. If not, I'll put the details out on our Twitter at Mostly Nitpicking, where you can join. Football season starts in 3 weeks, so you got plenty of time. You could set all your picks at the beginning of the season, or set each of your picks week by week. Free to enter, 1 entry per person. And if you win, we have like a really weird, convoluted way of like reaching out to you. Usually like you DM us like a screenshot with like, hey, this is me. We haven't had any issues in the past. But we hope you'll join us. And it's a fun time. And if you win, you get to pick a movie for us to nitpick. So it's a good time.
Yeah, I feel like there have been people in the past. One thing that people have done when they make their accounts is name your team or like your whole thing, the movie that you will have us pick if you win, so we can be scared of it coming down the pipe. So
oh my gosh,
that might be fun if you have a little bit of foresight and you know what you're picking, but no rush either. If you don't know, that's totally fine.
So could somebody in theory pick Jumper and make us do it again, worst idea in the world style?
We've never had that happen where someone picked a movie we've done.
We only do it by accident every so often, like with Batman. But I don't think we've ever done it on purpose. Actually, that's not true. I think we did do something a second time on purpose, but not because someone picked it. But I do think it's happened. I can't remember when. But yeah,
I mean, I don't know if we would stop anyone. I don't know. We'd have to figure that one out. Yeah, that's interesting.
We'll conference with the person because, like, I feel like there's somewhere it might be funny and somewhere it's like, listen, this will probably be boring. You'll get a more entertaining episode if you pick something that we haven't done before. But like maybe revisiting something that we did very early, like that could be interesting, or something where we have like a little bit more perspective on a franchise could be a little more interesting. You know, like there's ways that it could work.
Yeah.
Diggins, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do, Nando. I got two quick things. One, I watched a movie on the Criterion Channel, which I have recommended before, called Leave Her to Heaven. It's kind of a famous film noir movie from the 40s that contains what's considered one of the prototypical examples of a femme fatale. Because it's about this guy who like goes to see a family friend in New Mexico. He's like an author, and he ends up having a whirlwind romance with a woman who's staying in the same place with her family, like her sister and her mother, not. And so they get married, but then it becomes clear over time that she is an extremely jealous and possessive person. And, you know the trajectory of a femme fatale type. It goes from there. It's a really good movie. It really creates a lot of tension. In some scenes, there's one like really famous scene that's like the first really bad thing she does that is just like, it's this incredible tension of like making you think she's going to do this thing, but like at the same time you're kind of hoping like, no, but she wouldn't really though, right? Even like knowing, of course, this is a movie and it is going to happen. It's really good at building that kind of suspense. So I would definitely
recommend. Does she slowly type the word jumper into a Twitter DM? Is that what it is? And you're like, JUMP, and it's like, oh no, what other movies have jump in them? White Man Can't, jump, or whatever? Like, yep, jumper.
Yep,
Worst
that's
thing you
it.
can do to a person.
You got it, exactly. Well, you could recommend Cat in the Hat instead.
I like the Cat in the Hat. I'm sticking with that. I had fun with it. I really did. People have reached out to me and been like, yeah, you like Cat in the Hat? And I'm like, yeah, I actually enjoyed it.
There are people straight out of Central Casting, coming up to me, tears in their eyes, big eyes, crying, telling me, sir, you're right about Cat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat is terrible.
Exactly.
And they want to shake my hand.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And no notes.
And my other recommendation is, I think I recommended a while back, Tiny Heist on Dropout as being like fun like D&D style thing. I've been watching a lot more Dimension 20 stuff lately, like all the other different seasons they've run, like Fantasy High, Crown of Candy, On Sleeping City, etc. And you know what? They're all really good. Brandon Lee Mulligan is an incredible DM. He's such a good improviser. He like rolls with his players' decisions and choices so well. He creates these ridiculous characters. He's just very funny. And all the players are incredible too. They change up more frequently, so I'm not going to shout out every single person, but they're all really great. So yeah, if you enjoy watching role-playing content, or if you think you would, but you look at Critical Role and you're like, this is 4 hours long, I can't do this, Dimension 20 is usually more in the range of like an hour to 2 hours, so it's a little more doable.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Nando,
nice.
Do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
So, like, I had a whole vacation, and I didn't really watch too much stuff that was new. I watched, like, I watched more Sandman. We got up to episode 5, which is a fucking trip. Like, episodes 1 through 4, you're like, I think I get what the show is. Cool. And then episode 5 is not that. It's great, and, like, I think the show is awesome, and I love it. But, yeah, big kind of left turn.
I think 5 and then 6 is the biggest 1-2 punch of that show.
Oh, really? Maybe we got to 6 then. Which one ends with, like, what seems to be the end of a book, or, like, an end of a... Because it does feel like whatever one we watched felt like the
Yeah.
finale of like a season.
Yeah, that was. I'm sure you're talking about episode 5, the diner.
Yeah, the diner.
Yeah, that's episode 5, and that is the end of volume 1 of the comics, so that makes sense.
That's what it sounded like. It had to be like, it just felt so final. But I'm sure that's why I can't wait to see where it goes from here. But again, I'm taking my time with this, not rushing it. So we'll see later. We watched one night. We were like let's put on a movie. What haven't you seen? And I voted for, I forget what I voted for. I voted for RRR, which we didn't do that time, but we did watch about 45 minutes of it one of the days, and I convinced someone to watch it, so that was cool. I voted Who Framed Roger Rabbit for our thing to watch. We ended up watching 7, which is not the same. The bit was, or what we were expecting, is that my cousin would be like, ew, I don't want to watch this, and then we'd just move on and watch my thing, or something else that's more neutral. But they held through, and we watched the whole thing, and I don't think it's a very good movie. I think it's it's a well shot, somewhat well acted movie, although somewhat I think it's a lot of different levels, I think, for me. But I just don't. I'm watching it again. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this about? Is it just about how people are sad and the world is bad? And I don't know. Just like, really, I still like David. I love David Fincher. I think he's like a genius. Love, Social Network and even Fight Club. But just like this, I'm like, man, I don't really like this movie, do I? So not recommending that. I mean, like, see it the first time if you haven't seen it, but I don't know.
But you are recommending not knowing what's in boxes.
I mean, that's the thing. We got maybe like 3/4 of the way done. I was like, I'm just going to go upstairs. But it was like, no, I got to get to that part because that part is fun. And it was. We all laughed. It was great. But, yeah, just not...
You laughed?
I mean, when he says it, it's so funny to see the meme in real life. And, like, it's funny because, like, the way... It's not a funny scene, but he's going to say, like, it exactly how... weird he's gonna say it, and hearing it is so, I don't know, it's kind of bizarre, in a good way.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I will say one of the things I did read a lot of comics while I was up there, but not a lot of specific ones. So I read some of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, but didn't finish it. I like it a lot, but I was just like, that was my by the pool read, and I just didn't end up reading that much. I read a lot.
The idea of a by the pool read. It's like, I'm by the pool. What am I going to read?
Right, and it's like, well, I'll just get in the pool. And then it's like, oh, I'm done in the pool. I'm going to go inside and shower. And then it's like, I guess I'm inside now. I think I left my book out there. That's
great.
I did read a lot of not even kind of old, DC, like Detective Comics comics. So like I would say 900s of that. A lot of the James Tynion stuff, and like Joker War and those stories in like Rebirth, and I think they're quite good. I mean, the art in them is just gorgeous, and I think those are lots of fun. But there were a lot of blind spots for me where I had to kind of fill them in for video stuff. So that was worth it. You know what I watched? I watched the Dark Knight Returns animated movie. Have you guys ever watched that?
No.
It's like just the book, but
I've
animated.
read the book. I've never watched the movie.
Yeah, I can't tell if I'm conflating. I'm like, oh, well, I've read the book, so I must have seen the animated, but maybe not.
I mean, they're so close. Like, it's that part of it is pretty impressive. And I do like the voice acting a lot in the movie. It does look like an animated DC movie as opposed to like a very stylish comic book. And that's always my problem with these. But I did watch that as like a refresher on a character that I'm going to be talking about in a video, and it was nice. So I don't know that. And the rehearsal, obviously, which is like, appointment television. I watch it, and I still think it's fake.
Yeah.
We'll find out soon. Famous last words.
Yeah, we're hurtling towards the end. Yeah,
we're
hurtling towards the end here.
And, yeah, I wish I could recommend She-Hulk, but that comes out tonight. So I have not seen it yet because they moved it back, so it's not the same day as Andor, even though I think they pushed the Andor release back, too. But anyway.
Really?
I thought so, yeah. So yeah, all those things and whatever. I don't know. The things I usually say as well. Podcasts and comics and such. What are we doing next week, fellas?
Day shift.
Wait, we had another idea, didn't we? Oh, the They Them movie, maybe.
Yeah.
Also, DJ, I think you said Frankenweenie the other day. I don't know.
I did say Franken, but you guys didn't like. You guys didn't like my Frankenweenie recommendation.
I still don't like it. I do just want to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good recommendation. I really do. I think Frankenweenie would be real fun.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have zero memory of this.
Oh, I'll explain it off air.
Yeah.
I was thinking, and since we picked Jumper, it was like kind of too late. It's this idea came to me at like 3 today, but we could do like the old Hulk movie. We could do a Hulk thing in prep for She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Like the Ang Lee Hulk, I feel like is pretty weird, and I haven't seen it in a really long time.
That would be fun. That would be fun. And we've definitely never done it, right? We haven't done the Ang Lee Hulk.
That's a great question. I don't think so, because I don't think I've seen that movie in years. We could also do like the old like Lou Ferrigno Hulk made-for-TV movies, because those are...
Oh my gosh.
Those people dig those up every so often, and they're all pretty bizarre. But that's just an idea. We also have, like we're saying, plenty of movie debt, plenty of other, other stuff. We have... So here's what's left, by the way, on the wheel. Super Mario Brothers, which we are saving. Although, like, when are they going to tell us? We haven't gotten a trailer for that yet, right?
No.
Is that coming out
We've
this
got
year?
Nothing. No, next year.
I thought it was the end of this year.
It is still technically slated for December this year, but as we've discussed, that's often
impossible.
Means that it's actually coming out next year, and they're just putting out a date for now.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Because, I don't see that one. But we will do it, David, so don't, but it might take us a second. The other ones we have here, we got Breaking Dawn Part 2 specifically, by the request of Jessica and the group, and we could do another Twilight movie to like build up to that.
Yeah.
We got Rocketeer still on the list. We could always do that, and then Nick, who is the other person who donated, who had their who DM'd me because they were in the book club. They picked a My Hero Academia movie, which is always fun to have me watch an anime. I don't know.
Let's do it.
But
let's do it.
But I think they said that it might make sense to wait until I think October, because there's some other My Hero Academia thing coming out around that time. If we want to make it kind of relevant or something like that.
I would love you to watch MHA. Yes.
I'll get the information. I'll find it because I have it written down somewhere, but I can't remember where.
Only if it's about the pervert grape.
Oh my god!
I think I kind of know what Diggins is talking about.
I have no idea what that is. But, so we've got those. Yeah, I don't think there's any other stuff coming out this week that's, like, big. So if anybody has any really strong feelings, tweet at us, and then we'll do it, probably. DJ, do you have
we'll put out a poll.
Or whatever, that's right, we can poll. DJ, do you have anything to plug?
So just the usual roses and rejections. I will tell everyone that the episode that comes out next week, when you're listening to this, will be our Hometowns episode, which Michelle will be making her glorious return. So I would encourage everyone to listen. So you guys can all enjoy that. This season from the Nor Dimension. And I will say, this season has been terrible, so don't blame you guys if you've been missing out.
Oh,
but that's all I got.
All right, Diggins, you have anything to plug?
Just my usuals. My newsletter, littleperspective.substack.com. I stream sometimes at twitch.tv/thisisanodname. And you can still check out my story, Pay the Blood Price, at distantreaches.com, as well as a very short interview with me about the story and my process generally.
Awesome.
What about you, Nando?
I'll probably have my video out probably by the end of this week. So my fan casting, the first 4, the pre-crisis Bat family members. So Nightwing, Jason Todd, Red Hood, Batgirl, and then Batwoman, but the newer one. But still, she's an older character, like kind of a legacy character. And then my other one, the Nebula companion for that, will be, I think I've said, like Batmite, Carrie Kelly, and Azrael. I've been that's why I was kind of getting a refresher on Carrie Kelly, and I did read some Batmite comics this week. Didn't love them, but they were fine. And I read a bunch of Azrael comics, and he's really weird. So those will all be on the first 4 that'll be on YouTube, and then the other one will be on Nebula. So I'm sure if you watch my videos, you know what that is. And it is although every so often I feel like someone will be like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast, didn't know you had videos," and I'm like, really? That's
bizarre to me.
It's possible.
It doesn't happen that often, but every so often I do notice it. So it's a streaming service that I created with a bunch of other YouTube creators. I say I created, someone else did, but we were part of it. It's not like my idea. And I put my videos there early, and with a sometimes bonus companion videos. So like this one. Yeah, besides those two things, I don't think I have anything that'll be up between now and then, or now and next week. So that should be fun. Yeah. So until next week, I have been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo!
Bye. We love you.